Alright, hi everyone, my name is Saint, and thank you so much for watching this video. It's one I've long since had in the making. So this is basically my attempt at a comprehensive Danger Spiral combo tutorial, and this one's going to focus on the Synchro variants. That being said, the video is 3 hours long, but I have put timestamps in the description, so you guys hopefully have no trouble referencing sections, deck lists, combos, and such that you may need later. So anyway, this video finally came about after seeing a lot of people ask on the SPYRAL discords as well as on this YouTube channel if there was a step-by-step combo guide for this deck, because I do understand that it can be daunting in the beginning and it can be really confusing if you have no guidance whatsoever. So there is a bit of a steep learning curve to SPYRAL, so I tried to simplify the deck for you guys by making a guide with the fundamental basic combo lines for this deck that will work on most, if not all, of the main Synchro variants that you'll often see people playing. There are like tons of combo lines and there's tons of ways to get into combo that are usually really unique, but again, because there's just so many, I decided to just do one or two, three for each variant, and then hopefully that can help you have some kind of start for you to start learning the deck. And so the reason I started with Synchros was because they're currently the most popular in Master Duel. Synchros and SPYRAL allow for powerful and diverse boards, and you do so with significantly less material. So compare this to a Trigate list from a few years ago, where you would end up using almost everything you had for one Omni Negate and maybe a few Monster Negates, and then you see the value of playing these variants, where you can end on multiple forms of disruption and or onboard floodgates, and then you can use those to strengthen your boards and cripple decks that try to go second. So that being said, I'm going to be trying to go over basic board building elements and deck building elements just so you guys get an idea of what I'm talking about, and I'll try to showcase what makes this deck unique and what makes it worth playing. So if SPYRAL has caught your interest at this point, one thing you might like to know is that while it is a combo deck, there is no one way to play it. You can mold your ratios and your extra deck to match any style of play that you prefer. You can tech in whatever you feel you see fit, and because this deck is not fully solved, you'll find that there are several variants that end on all sorts of different monsters. So anyone can really pick up a new build when the old ones they've been playing is getting stale. SPYRAL's not archetype locked, and it's incredible at putting bodies on the board, so every time a new generic boss monster hits the game, this deck can usually go into it and maximize its use one way or another. And so for this video, I will be going over 3 different variants to familiarize you with how the combo deviates based on what end board you're working towards. And so while these are not official names, I'm just labeling them as such for their unique extra deck cards. So anyway, the 3 variants I'm going to be starting with are going to be the Desert Locust variant, and this one I usually recommend for beginners as it runs the least situational bricks, is generally forgiving with link arrows and monster zones, and usually runs the same combo lines that you're going to find if you want to play like a Scythe Lock board and some Infernoble lists and etc. So we'll then move on with a basic Smoke Grenade Infernoble variant, as I mentioned earlier, whose unique payoff is the ability to control both your opponent's deck and hand. And then we'll finally end with one of many Halqdon variants that make most of its endboard material off of Dawn tokens and O-line, and then that can also teach you the fundamentals on how to build other monsters with Aurora Dawn and SPYRAL. I'll also briefly go over some danger hands, how to play through suboptimal hands, and how best to combo under those circumstances. So if you're watching this video, also consider if you'd like to build a pure or danger variant of this list, and that's mainly going to influence what your deck is going to look like and how big it's going to be. The pure variants, as named, play the SPYRAL cards at higher ratios, and so a lot of search cards are also added so you can get into combo with SPYRALs. They are a little bit brickier, but they can add more hand traps and going second cards as opposed to the danger engine, because the danger variants add a small to medium-sized danger engine with the intention of using them as supplemental bodies, right? And you also use them as a way to hopefully draw you into combo pieces. So the cool thing about that is that they can give you slightly beefier boards because danger bodies can be used as materials instead of your SPYRALs. So that saves you on SPYRAL missions and monsters that you can use as disruption or gas during the potential grind game if your board is broken. So because I do use dangers in my deck, I'm going to dedicate a small section of this video to a few danger hands that I draw so I can also demonstrate how they're able to achieve this. But for the combo tutorials, I definitely will mostly be going over the linear fundamental SPYRAL lines, so you can do these on pure and you can do these on danger list as well. So, for example, in this replay, I was playing a smoke list, but I replaced my usual IP Masquerena on this list with the Dagda, since I wanted to see if I could add a little spice with Scythe, and especially in the Despia meta, it was just kind of helpful. And so with Smoke Grenade, I was also able to view my opponent's hand and discard any card of my choice, which is really good with decks that have a lot of gas, because then you can kind of think, oh, well, I'm just going to save my negate for this one card that they have in their hand, or you can kind of like plan around it more instead of blindly answering what your opponent is doing. And so this was a fun, if a bit degenerate play on my part, but yes, if this doesn't show it, you can end your Spiral board on anything as long as your engine can build it, regardless of whether or not you consider it optimal or not. So anyway, if you're considering this deck seriously, I do want to say that along with the deck being able to make a powerful board, it is a decent rogue contender in tournaments and ladder because this deck can easily mold your end board to address different metas. You also gain a huge advantage to the gimmick of stacking your opponent's top deck and capitalizing off that knowledge to combo. And going second, you also have a great going second toolbox with Nightmares because you send things for costs that will either plus you or go even. That being said, I am super excited to share this knowledge with you, and we will now be moving on to the basic Danger Spiral ratios and commonly played cards for this deck. Alright, so for this very brief deck building overview, I'm not going to go over exact deck lists here because every season or with every new card pack, Spiral does sometimes change depending on what kind of meta we're facing. So our hand traps may change, our strategies may change, and so I didn't really want to put that here and have it be outdated in a few days or in a few months. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to have sample deck lists in the description, just in case you're interested in trying these decks but you don't know where to begin. And as far as what I'm going to go over here with this video, I'm just going to go over basic ratios and kind of cards you're commonly going to see and how many of each you should typically run, so on and so forth. And I'm also just going to go over briefly over all of them. So I'm going over danger variants of this deck, so I will include the danger package as well. And as far as the danger package goes, we normally like to run 2 Jackalope, 2 Tsuchinoko, and 3 Nessie, and that's kind of the bare minimum for what you'd like to run. Sometimes you can get away with 2 Nessie if you are relying on Small World to get you in a combo more than you are on a Grepher Nessie combo like with these two. But as it is right now, I think the common danger package does consist of that, and you can also add Bigfoot for utility going second if you feel like you want an out to hand traps like not hand traps, just an out to traps like Skill Drain or Rivalry or any other floodgate that you can't normally get rid of on the field. So Bigfoot is a cool addition as well. However, he is almost exclusively good going second because if he pitches himself going first, you kind of end up minusing because there's nothing for him to destroy. So definitely keep that in consideration. However, he can be dropped off of Grepher and so on and so forth. And while I won't be going over having Bigfoot in my particular combo lines and stuff because I don't run him anymore, you can choose to run him, and he does have some utility in Spiral decks, okay? Moving on to our Synchro package, we usually run 1 Jet Synchron and 1 Destrudo. And in some lists, I also like to add Veiler just in case Jet Synchron gets milled, and if you're running like a Halqdon line where you wind up needing a tuner more than once and Jet gets milled. But definitely if you do run a list like that, or if you just feel like you're milling Jet a lot and it's concerning you, you can add 1 to 2 Veilers. And you know, the cool thing is Veilers also double as hand traps, so you know, it never hurts to see them. At times they kind of lose their utility if you draw them, and that's kind of the only thing you have. But you know, it's still pretty good if you're going second against someone. Effect Veilers do come in pretty handy. So I have run anywhere from 1 to 2 on my lists, depending on what list I run. That's pretty much it for the Synchro package in the main deck. As far as the extra deck goes, almost every Synchro variant that I've seen will usually end on Savage at the very least, because he's very easy to go into. With Jet Synchron as level 1 and Master Plan as level 7, it's just instant board load Savage Dragon, and he's definitely the easiest Omni Negate for us to get into in any variant that we play. So definitely I would say he's kind of part of your core if you choose to play Synchro variants of this deck, because it's just really easy to get into. Alright, and also as far as our extra deck, we do use Kriston Halq Fibrax. Definitely there's other ways to get into tuners, but Halq is by far the easiest, and we usually get into Halq by special summoning Destrudo and then using him and any other monster that we have on the field to go into Halq. Usually that will wind up being double helix at some point in the combo when he's no longer really needed to late climb going first. So definitely Halq invaluable. He's going to be in every Synchro list, obviously, so definitely consider investing in that. As far as our spirals go, our package on danger lists are not normally very large because we actually find alternate ways to get into combo as opposed to turboing helix as is common in pure. We normally want to get helix to introduce master plan or, you know, see souls and then just kind of go into our magician souls and Quik-Fix combo. But with dangers, you find that you can easily go into combo just by dumping master plan through the effect of either Dark Grepher or a danger pitching her out of your hand and so on and so forth, and then bringing her back with either something like Dugares or a rescue or a big red or, you know, anything like that. So we have like different ways of going into combo. We do also sometimes use Curious to drop a rescue for master plan if the situation is dire. So definitely there's more than one way to introduce plan, and then we rely on using master plan to search us our spiral resorts and our monsters who then get us into combo. So like the priorities shift a little bit, so that's kind of why we run a smaller package, but it's definitely spiral because spirals search each other out, they special summon each other to the field, and so we still rely on the spiral engine to get anywhere. And so we run one Quik-Fix because unfortunately he's limited to one, and if you're all familiar with Quik-Fix, he is your Spiral Gear Searcher. So he will search things like a Spiral Gear Drone, a Spiral Gear Last Resort, and Spiral Gear Big Red. And there are other things you can have Quik-Fix search. However, those are the ones most commonly run in the danger variants. I know some pure variants like to run Utility Wire, and while I love that card, definitely it's bricked me way too many times playing dangers, so I've kind of cut it. I've long since cut it actually. So I just tend to rely on the aforementioned Spiral Gears. Moving on, we have Drone, of course. On top of being a great way to look at the top 3 cards of our opponent's deck, he basically ensures that Spiral Double Helix will resolve. And with him in Quik-Fix, we use him to overlay into Ghost Trick Dullahan. If you're all familiar with pure lines, sometimes that tends to be Magician Souls and Quik-Fix that become your rank 1 Xyz. However, in our danger combos, usually it will be Drone, and we make use of that assault to special summon him in combo most of the time. However, there are other lines you can go into with or without Drone, like say special summoning Super Agent, or attempting to and finding out what the top card is, and then going ahead and using Double Helix to find the card afterwards. So definitely there's lots of ways to go about it. However, Drone is still a really important card. I leave it at 1 primarily because unlike pure, the Drone Agent combo is not something we want to see too often, and we want to get more bodies on the field as well. So while in pure you may run multiple copies of these 2 cards, in dangers it's kind of just something that we end up using for our combo, and then we don't really rely on it so much later. So just having 1 of Drone and 1 of Super Agent is normally more than enough. We do run 3 Magician Souls still, and that's because Magician Souls is pretty much the greatest way to introduce Master Plan into the grave, and then also the easiest way to sometimes get her back out if you have a Spiral Mission Rescue in your hand, or you know, if you have a Spiral Mission Assault in your hand and you send it to the graveyard and you already have Master Plan in your hand. So Magician Souls is really versatile, and on top of that, he almost always gets us to draw 2 cards off of just doing our combo, provided your opponent doesn't negate that effect. So definitely Magician Soul is a great card, a great combo starter. Moving on, we also have Dark Grepher, which actually I forgot to mention is part of the Danger package. However, with regards to Dark Grepher and Mothman, they are optional tech. You don't need to run them. But Dark Grepher and Nessie together do go into a full Dugares combo because Nessie will search Jackalope, and then Jackalope will special summon Mothman to the field after Dark Grepher discards Jack. So with those 2 level 4s, you can usually res Master Plan from the grave and go into an alternate combo line that pretty much ends you at the same place almost as the Magician Souls and Quik-Fix combo, with just saving 1 form of revival because Dugares gave you 1. So that's cool. However, I know some people don't like to run Mothman because he's kind of like a monster version of Dark World dealings. You don't want to draw your opponent into things. So sometimes if you draw him off of a pure danger hand, like some people might not like that. So he definitely is cuttable. Dark Grepher and Mothman are both cuttable cards. However, they do have a lot of utility if you choose to run them. And of course, I already reviewed Super Agent somewhat, but with Drone and Super Agent, they both are also 1 combo line, as long as you have a 3rd body on the field, really, to kind of make up for the fact that at one point in your combo, you'd have to use Double Helix and Master Plan to go into Borg. So having that 3rd body makes it so you have enough material to not kind of go negative. So definitely it is helpful, especially since the Drone Agent combo is one of the weaker combos regardless of whether you're playing Pure or Danger or any variant, really. Alright, and moving on, we also have Spiral Gear Last Resort. Last Resort, if you're not aware, is an equip card that makes any Spiral that it's equipped to untargetable and indestructible by card effects and battle as well. So he's really good for the grind game at times if you are going against like a control deck. He's also especially good equipped to Sleeper, which is our in-deck boss monster, and he basically pops himself and then 2 other cards that your opponent controls. And so if you have Last Resort equipped to him, he doesn't destroy himself because he's basically indestructible by card effects. So it's really powerful. You basically get a free pop 2 on your turn or their turn, so it's definitely a great asset. And sometimes if you just end on Sleeper alone, like most decks just cannot deal with it. And so definitely Last Resort is integral to that, because if you put Spiral Sleeper on the field without a Last Resort, if he destroys himself, what happens is he just ends up wiping your whole board. And eventually he does special summon a Super Agent from either hand, deck, or graveyard, and then, you know, special summons him to the field and all, but like, it's at the cost of blowing up your whole board. So you want to make sure that if you have Sleeper on the field, you normally want to make sure he is indestructible in some respect before doing so. But yes, that's definitely the importance of Last Resort. Being a level 4, sometimes he can get you in a combo with Dugares as well, but for the most part, he is a huge brick, and he's not really a welcome sight to see in your opening hand sometimes. But he is kind of a necessary evil to run. Here we go. Moving on, we also have 2 Master Plan, and the reason we run 2 of them is because, let's say you draw Magician Souls, you don't want to end up not being able to special summon it because you already have the only Master Plan in your deck in your hand, right? So you always want to have just one other one, just in case. And also, while this is probably not the main reason, it is also a great small world starter and bridge sometimes. So knowing that you have 2 Master Plans, you know one is expendable for a starting combo, and then you can just go into your combo lines with the other one that you're going to be introducing to the grave, hopefully, and just looping her over and over with. So definitely that's a great thing. Moving on, we have Destrudo. I think I mentioned him already for our Synchro package, but basically he's a level 7 tuner that can special summon himself from your hand or your graveyard as long as you have a level 6 or lower monster that he can target. And then he just subtracts his level from the level of whatever it was he targeted. So sometimes that can come in handy depending on what list you're playing. If you just want to go into a hard Synchro, you can think about, oh well, if I make Destrudo this level, I can go into Savage or I can go into Baron. But normally he's just used as a tuner to fulfill the material for halq. So basically we just use him as halq material typically at the cost of 4,000 life points. And while that is kind of steep, it pales in comparison to how powerful your board gets just by doing that. I don't think there's ever really been many times actually where I've been OTK'd off of the effect of a Destrudo plus whatever damage my opponent does to me. Normally what happens is they try so hard to just clear my board that I get to live another turn usually. And if I do end up getting beat by someone who just broke my board, it's not going to be on the same turn that they break it usually. So that's definitely something to consider. So definitely Destrudo is a great card for enabling your Synchro plays, and he's definitely a requirement. We already went over Nessie's, but combined with Jackalope and Tsuchinoko, Nessie's just a way to search your other dangers. So if Nessie pitches itself off of its own effect, or if the effect of Dark Grepher, or the effect of just any random discard, it will basically search you your danger of choice. So that can be valuable with the Grepher Nessie combo because we search Jackalope, so when we proc Jackalope, it'll give us the danger that we want. So it's definitely it's got a lot of utility, and also it's a great small world starter and bridge. So definitely Nessie at 3 is really nice, although you can also run Nessie at 2. I already talked about Sleeper. He's basically our boss monster. He's incredible, really, and while he is a huge brick in our hand, you find that the greatest presence on your end board when you finish building it is Sleeper on top of all your other negates and so on and so forth, because someone can play through your board usually if they're smart about how they use their resources, but Sleeper is the one that really puts the pressure on your opponent by destroying any 2 things that they put on the field. So definitely when I play Sleeper, I try to make sure that he's usually my last line of defense sometimes. I try to just see if after someone baits my interactions, if they wipe me out, well, I know that at this point I have Sleeper to destroy anything else that they choose to dish out at me. So definitely I would say if you do play Sleeper, just be conservative with your Sleeper pops. Just think like, you know, if I pop this card, will they have a follow-up play? Have they normal summoned yet? So on and so forth. So definitely depends on the deck and the matchup you play against, but definitely he's a great asset. Moving on, we have our searchers and some of our extenders here, our generic searchers and extenders. We start with Monster Reborn. Our deck is really grave heavy, so we do like to fish things in and out of the grave, either search them out or special summon them. So Monster Reborn can sometimes get you in a combo. Let's say you have Magician Souls and Monster Reborn, or Magician Souls and Big Red. Magician Souls and Rescue, they're all the same thing. They all get you in a combo. So Monster Reborn is basically a free card that the game gives you, so definitely, you know, if it's free and it helps with your combo, we do like to use it. Reinforcement of the Army is one that, I guess all of these really, you could argue that they are cuttable, but they're all especially good cards. So with Reinforcement of the Army, it'll basically search you a warrior. Depending on your combo line and looking at your hand, you can either search out Dark Grepher, you can search out Super Agent, and depending on which one you need, you can go in a combo with that. So it's a nice way to have control over which warrior you get and hopefully get you in a combo. If you do run Tough, it can also search out Tough because he's also a warrior, and well, he's not commonly run. He does have utility as a Spiral and also as just a great going second card. In addition with Super Agent, they can both go in a combo together if you go second. So definitely, if you do run more warriors in the form of Tough, definitely Reinforcement of the Army has more value. Terraforming, of course, self-explanatory. We just use it to search our Spiral Resort, and sometimes it can be a great card, and sometimes you drew all your resorts and you end up with Terraforming, although that is rare. I find that Terraforming usually is more helpful than not. There have been times that I've cut it along with Reinforcement of the Army, and while it's not awful, I found that my quality of life comboing and everything has been better with them, just because sometimes it's great to have, let's say, Terraforming and a resort, and then still have full combo in your hand. You can have Terra, Bait, and Ash, and then just go on a combo, so on and so forth. So it's definitely good. If you do want to run a slightly smaller deck, though, then definitely you can cut any of these. Moving on, we have 1-for-1, which is an extremely good card. However, it is very prone to getting ashed or negated because it's just so powerful and it's a 1-of. But you can send one monster from your hand to the graveyard and then special summon one level 1 monster from your hand or deck. And so definitely one of our strongest starters in this deck is Quik-Fix, and he is level 1. Not only can Quik-Fix basically search you Big Red and so on and so forth, but he can search you a drone. So let's say you special summon Quik-Fix to the field, you still have a normal summon available for drone, and these two already go in a full combo together if you get both of them on the field. So that's kind of the value of 1-for-1. You can also use 1-for-1 to search out Jet in a situation where, let's say, you can't get into your synchros, but you have a 1-for-1. If you get in a beard, if your board gets broken or whatever, and you have a 1-for-1 left over, you might be able to pick yourself up again because you just get free material and you don't have to use a normal summon. And so it's a really, really good card, and definitely one that I'd consider running. But just like the others, it technically is cuttable, but is just such a good card. Moving on, I'm going to go over our newest tech, which is Small World. And I know that this card can be confusing to some people, basically because the description is so convoluted. But in essence, it's basically reveal card A, and that card A is in your hand, reveal it to your opponent. And then you have to pick one card in your deck. This card is card B. It has exactly one of the same traits as card A. So on the card description, it basically states like what things it has to have the same. And then after that, you have to pick a card from your deck that has exactly one thing in common with card B. And that card is going to be card C. Card C is the card that you're going to add to your hand at the end. So if you have any trouble playing Small World, I'm also going to link in the description a link to like a Small World optimizer where you can kind of plug in your deck and then just see what Small World starters and bridges and so on can get you where you want to go. It helps me understand it because I know at first when I started playing it, it was like, hold on, I can't get to what I want, right? But it's actually very simple, and I hopefully after you memorize like your starters and your bridges and stuff, you're going to find that this card is really good. It's part of why at the time of making this video, so many people run slightly beefier decks than usual, like definitely more than the standard 40, because Small World is just such a good searcher, especially for us since we tend to brick a lot sometimes, and there's times we just, no matter how many dangers you draw, you can't get into your starters. So Small World is invaluable for that because it can turn almost any card in your deck, provided it's a monster, into a combo starter. So it's really good. Moving on, we have Big Red, which is the final spiral gear that Quik-Fix can search you, and it's one of the most important because we use it in combo usually to bring back Master Plan as a form of revival. So the cool thing that makes Big Red different from everything else is that you can equip it to a spiral monster. That spiral monster is indestructible by battle, but also you can send it off the effect of souls, and you can still draw a card off of it, and when Big Red leaves the field, it doesn't kill the monster, like it doesn't send the monster that it was equipped to the graveyard, so it's really cool in that sense. Sadly, it is once per turn, hard once per turn, so we're not really in the habit of running more than one. However, it's a really good card, and we pretty much use it all the time, so definitely, usually it's one of the first things that Quik-Fix will search. Alright, moving on, we have 3 Spiral Resort, and this is basically your field spell. It is one of your primary searchers to search spiral monsters, aside from Master Plan, and it's also a field spell that protects you from any targeted effects. So it protects you from Unicorn, Veilers, Imperms, Widow Anchors, you name it. Like, it is really good. And a lot of people that are playing against Spiral will usually not notice that this card grants you that protection effect. However, it does only protect spirals, so if you go into any other main boss, extra deck boss, monster, or something like that, it's not protected off of the effect of Spiral Resort. So definitely keep that in mind when you're comboing. But definitely it is one of the best cards that we have in our deck, and it's so good that it's basically limited in TCG and semi-limited in OCG if I recall correctly. So definitely a great asset and a card we're usually very happy to see. Alright, moving on, we finally go on to our Spiral missions, and these are cards that are searchable by Master Plan. So remember how I mentioned the sub-archetype of Spiral Gears can be searched by Spiral Quik-Fix, the sub-archetype of Spiral missions can be searched by Master Plan. So these cards allow us to extend and go into our plays more by making sure they're in the graveyard, and then we banish them, and then we pretty much redeem them to do whatever it says on the card. So in Spiral Mission Rescue, while it does have an onboard effect that allows us to target one spiral monster in our graveyard and add to our hand, its banish effect in the graveyard is much stronger. It allows us to target one spiral monster in our graveyard and special summon it. So the thing here with Spiral Mission Assault, it's basically almost the same thing, but we get to special summon from our hand. And if it is on the field, you get to draw a card every time a spiral monster destroys something by either battle or card effect, which is kind of like whatever really, but we definitely value the graveyard effects more. While the onboard effects are okay, the graveyard effects are what we really go for. So we always want these in the graveyard and most of the time. So definitely that's kind of how the deck works. So moving on to the extra deck, we already went over Borderlord Savage. He's just your generic Omni Negate and an easy level 8 that we go into. We have 2 Xyz monsters, and technically on the subject of the Dark Grepher and Nessie combo, Dugares can be cuttable if you don't go into that combo line a lot, or if you don't rely on level 4s too much to go into combo. So definitely he is cuttable. However, Dugares is kind of one of my favorite cards because he has saved my ass countless times every time I have 2 level 4s in Master Plan in the graveyard. Sometimes if I'm bricking really bad, I will use the first effect of skipping my next main phase 1 to to skip my deck's draw phase to draw 2 cards and discard 1 card. And also, if you're going for game, he can also skip the battle phase of your next turn to double the attack of 1 monster you control. So he has utility, but definitely it's up to you if you like to run him or not. But definitely always try to have a rank 1 Xyz in your deck. Some people don't run them, but I find that they're really good, especially for looping Quik-Fix enough times to get all your searches. So what we used to do, or what we still do actually, is we like to overlay Quik-Fix and any other level 1 monster into our level 1 Xyz monster, and then we just use its generic detach effect to send Quik-Fix back to the graveyard. So if it's not already clear, when Quik-Fix summons himself from the graveyard, he basically gets banished the next time he leaves the field if you don't chain a rescue to him. So what we do is we'll overlay him, and then the effect of the Xyz monster detaching Quik-Fix overrides his banish effect, so he's sent to the graveyard, and then we can loop him another time, which is really cool. So you don't have to run Ghost Rictolahan, but for the sake of the demos that I'm going to be doing, because Ghost Rictolahan is considered the best rank 1 Xyz that you can play in Spiral, because he is a level 1 dark monster, I'm going to be using him in a lot of our demos. If you do play pure, or if you play variants that don't really rely so much on making curious, then you can play other cards like Slow and Princess Sprite. That is a common one. And this one kind of takes you further if you have a lot of spells in your deck, because it'll attempt to mill the first card off the top of your deck, and if it's a spell you can add it to your hand, or spell trap you can add it to your hand, and if it's a monster you end up milling it. So that's really good if you play pure lists, but if you play a danger list or any list that plays curious and you need 3 darks, Ghost Rictolahan tends to be the better option. And so moving on, we're going to move on to Link Haribo, which is also a dark. We also use him as a dark material for Curious when the situation demands, but also he's a really good way to get Quik-Fix and Jet Synchron in the grave, depending on the situation that it calls for. Sometimes you do want those cards in the grave so they can send something from your hand to the grave, like a Spiral Mission or a Danger or anything like Master Plan, depending on the situation, right? So Link Haribo also basically becomes its own material. Let's say if you were to link away Quik-Fix and then you go into Link Haribo and then you special summon Quik-Fix from the grave again, you already have 2 material off of 1 monster. So that's really powerful, and sometimes it comes in handy in really fringe situations where you're kind of bricking a little bit and you need just that extra push to go into Borg to like send something to the graveyard and so on and so forth. So definitely when the time calls for it, you'll know when you need it. And if you play any list that doesn't run Dullahan as your 3rd dark for Curious, you're probably going to be going into Link Haribo a lot for your combo. Alright, moving on, we have Spiral Double Helix. In Danger lists, we tend to run 1, although in Pure lists, sometimes some people run 2. And Spiral Double Helix is kind of the star of this deck. It was the card that broke this deck, actually, and what it does is, if you call the card correctly, you can special summon or add to your hand any Spiral monster, and if you special summon it, you're going to summon it right to either of these 2 link arrows. So it's a really good way to introduce Master Plan in a combo where you don't have her yet. In addition, it's a great way to special summon Master Plan in a combo that's already established and you're just trying to get another loop off of her. Double Helix is also great for searching spirals that you don't have in your hand yet. I've used him countless times to search Sleeper on hands where I can't get every search off for every spiral monster. So definitely Helix is a great asset. He can be made using any 2 spiral monsters, and so he is considered technically one of the spiral choke points, though it really depends on the situation and how much you have in your graveyard. So definitely try to be careful when you go into Double Helix, if at all possible, because he is kind of the star of this deck, and getting into combo does rely a lot on double helix typically. Alright, we talked already about Kriston Halq, but basically he enables our synchro plays along with Destrudo and Jet. And if you have gone against any deck that plays synchros, they probably played Halq at one point. So he just special summons a level 3 or lower tuner, and depending on what variant you're playing, he will also tag out on your opponent's turn to go into a synchro monster that will then synchro summon on your opponent's turn. So if you play like a Desert Locust variant, or if you play like some Charles variants that have Formula Synchron, you will find that your Halq will be on the end board and that he will do that at some point. Alright, going on, we have our Nightmare package, and in our Nightmare package, usually we run a Phoenix and a Unicorn, and sometimes I do like to add Cerberus because he has great utility going second as far as just baiting your opponent into doing things. Cerberus basically is just like Phoenix, except what it does is you can destroy one card in the main monster zone. So all these cards are great going second. Phoenix is a great way to ensure that we force out any called by the graves, especially since Master Plan is very weak to getting called by the grave. Sometimes it'll completely shut down your combo, but really it just depends on just playing carefully and making sure you have a rescue in the graveyard when you do so. So Phoenix is a great way to bait that out. Phoenix can also send a Spiral mission or can send Spiral Master Plan. So the cool thing about Spiral is that unlike other decks, we actually combo off of link climbing with nightmares, because we like to send our spiral missions off of the effect of these nightmares, and we also like to send the monsters that we need to send to the graveyard off of the effect of nightmares. So you can climb on Phoenix, you can climb into Unicorn, and then you can go full combo, or you can just continue climbing into either Appaloosa or Access Code as the situation demands when you go second. In some really fringe situations, sometimes you will also be using Unicorn to spin your resort, just to make sure that Master Plan resolves in the graveyard. This happens when you draw into 3 resorts, and because if you have all 3 resorts in your hand, or on the field, or in the graveyard, or whatever, Master Plan won't actually initiate the search in the graveyard. So, weird little situations you gotta think about. Moving on, we also have Barricade Ward Blocker, which kind of serves the same role as the Nightmares do in getting our Spiral missions or any kind of monster we want on the field. And the thing is, the cool thing about Barricade Ward Blocker is that he also protects your face-up spells from your opponent's card effects. So there have been times I've been Maxied and all I end on is either this or IP Masquerena, depending on the variant that I'm running. And if I can live another turn, I get to at least keep my field spell if my opponent doesn't read. So that's pretty cool too. But the cool thing about Barricade Ward Blocker and all these nightmares is that they all chain block Master Plan's graveyard effect. To an extent, Curious will as well if you use Curious. If you use Master Plan as link material to go into Curious on her first loop, all of these cards on Link Summon have an effect. So when Master Plan resolves in the graveyard, you can chain link Master Plan as chain link 1, and you can chain link any of these cards, even Halq really, as chain link 2. And that will chain block Master Plan's graveyard effect. And that's primarily what we use Barricade Ward Blocker for. On top of using him as one of our darks for Curious, we also use him as a great chain blocker for Master Plan. Alright, moving on, we're going to talk about Curious. And Curious is definitely one of the best cards in this deck, and one that a lot of people ask me, can we cut this card? And if you play any kind of variant that injects like another engine into it, or like Orchest or something like that, or if you play Synchros, etc., you have to have Curious. And even in Pure Lists, you can argue that Curious has a lot of value because Curious can unbrick you by sending anything. Consider it almost like a Link Beatrice, where when you make it, you can send anything to the graveyard. So the cool thing about that is if you want to send a Destrudo, you can, turning on your Synchro package. You can send a Rescue to resurrect your Master Plan from the graveyard. You can send your Jet if you need a Jet for anything. You can send anything. The only drawback is that at the end, it does send the top 3 cards of your deck to the graveyard. So sometimes that mill can be great, and sometimes that mill can be bad. So you have to kind of prepare to play around whatever Curious mills. And that's pretty much the only drawback of it, but it does have a lot of utility in any Spiral variant that you play, and so I definitely recommend building it. And usually it takes 3 monsters with the same attribute but different types, so because we have a lot of darks in this deck, we'll usually use 3 darks to make Curious. So if you heard me talk earlier about like the dark mat for Curious, this is kind of what I mean. Alright, and finally, going over our extra deck here, we have Appaloosa and Access Code, two very common staples in any deck, really, not just this one. If you are a link deck, you can easily climb into either of these, and Appaloosa is usually a great going first card on our end board, but also it's also good going second if you're playing through Max C and you want to make sure you don't get nibbed or veilered or something, or at least to have some line of protection against hand traps. Appaloosa is great to go into early. And that's just a link 4 that gains 800 attack for every material that you use to build her. And every time that she has to negate a monster effect, because she's a monster negation, she loses 800 attack. So definitely a great card, and a great way to clean up your board whenever you are playing a synchro board, because you're going to end up with like a lot of stuff on your field, and you want to make sure to have room for everything. We tend to link away any kind of extraneous material that we are not going to use on synchros on Appaloosa. So you're going to find that unlike Peerless, you will sometimes run into like 3-mat to 4-mat Appaloosas just off of comboing. Alright, and finally we have Access Code Talker, and he doesn't really need much explanation either. He is your main OTK enabler. You know, when you want to end the game, this is what you're going to pull out, and you know, usually you want to build him off of as many link monsters as possible with like as many link arrows. So like I tend to like building him off of Unicorn, link climbing straight from Unicorn to Access Code Talker, because he gains 1000 attack for every link rating that the monster you made him from has. So in this case, he'll gain like 3000 attack off of Nightmare Unicorn. He would gain 4000 if you used Appaloosa, so on and so forth. So hopefully that kind of sheds some light on what each card does. And again, I'm going to have everything in the description as far as just starting decks, and just keep in mind that the ones in the description will also just be kind of like sample decks. So I'm just going to have like a few hand traps, but you are free to change hand traps, board breakers, whatever, as your needs see fit. Definitely don't feel the need to completely adhere to those lists. Alright, so that being said, let's go ahead and move on to our combo tutorial finally. Alright, so for our first combo tutorial, we're going to be going over the Magician's Souls and Quik-Fix combo, and this is going to be for our Desert Locust variants. So that being said, it also does go over the TG Wonder Magician Scythe variants, because the combo line is almost exactly the same. And I always recommend the Locust variant in particular to beginners, because it is pretty much the easiest one to pick up. You end up running the least situational bricks, and the end boards consist of a lot of staples that you normally don't have to go out of your way to make, because every other deck is probably going to run it at some point. So there's no kind of weird niche things to end up crafting, and it's a really great way to introduce people into just how powerful SPYRAL can be off of just linking into other things and just constantly creating material. So also, because this is the one I normally recommend for beginners, I'm not only going to go over the combo tutorial for this, but I'm also going to go over just basic link building techniques for SPYRAL, because depending on just how much you have on your field, there are situations where you end up clogging your zones if you're not careful. And in addition, there's also just little things you should know about how to prevent getting negated on important choke points and so on and so forth, and how to play around stuff like that. So as I go through this combo line, I'm going to just kind of let you know what I think as I go through it, and throughout the other combo tutorials, it's possible I'm just going to pepper in some knowledge here and there as well about just what to watch out for when you're comboing with this deck, and how to avoid falling into traps where people are just going to end up chaining some kind of negate that's going to be board breaking for you before you even finish, right? So this time around, definitely whenever you start with Magician's Souls and SPYRAL Resort, if you have no other way to go into combo, you normally want to start with special summoning Magician's Souls to the field. This is in part because, let's say, if someone has a Max C and they don't play around Gamma, they're going to chain it to your Soul Summon, and that's going to let you know like whether or not you should continue playing or not. So if you don't have an answer to Max C, it's possible that you may want to stop right there, or you're going to want to just prepare your grave as much as possible just for the follow-up turn, because you're not going to be able to special summon too much. So that's always nice. It's a lot better than shotgunning SPYRAL Resort, because let's say they max you or they ash you at this point, and then you have nothing else to go into, you have nothing else to send to the graveyard, and then you just end up getting your SPYRAL Resort destroyed because you have nothing to send for cost in the end phase. So Also, it's nice to just not show your cards yet. It's always good for them to not think you have Spiral Resort until you have it, because normally people will just save their Ash for that almost immediately. So in this case, because this is the only combo line we can go into, we're not able to bait with Resort and then just have another secondary play. We're going to special summon Magician's Souls to the field. And before we begin also, if you have anything on the field that's not a spiral, you normally want to keep them away from your extra monster zones. And this is because whenever you are linking, you're going to obviously start in the topmost monster zone, and then you're going to end up building right below it. And then typically, because of the way Double Helix's arrows point, you're always going to end up link building or summoning monsters to the left of that. So in this case, let's say, you have Magician's Souls. Magician's Souls is not a spiral, so you're not going to be frequently linking it away for combo. So we're going to put it over here in the side. It's always just a good habit to get into. And since I like to build on this particular extra monster zone when I'm going first, I want to make sure that anything, whether it's dangers or just extraneous monsters that are not spirals, stay away from this L-shaped area. So if you like to build on this monster zone, just make sure to keep this area cleared. So just keep that in mind going forward. And as you're going to see me board build, you're also going to notice that I will keep that in mind when I do so. After that, we can just go ahead and activate Spiral Resort. We're going to search Quik-Fix, which is the second part of this 2-card combo. And with Magician's Souls, we sent Master Plan to the grave as cost to special summon Magician's Souls. And with Quik-Fix, we're going to just fish her back out. And whenever I end up going over this combo line, or just any combo line with people, I always like to explain that Spiral is not a linear combo line. There are parts of it that are linear, but for the most part, it winds up being a situation where you just have to check off objectives. Sometimes you do things in a different order, so it's not really conducive to good comboing and good piloting to think of it as a procedure. Normally, our first objective is to resolve Master Plan on and off the grave, and then introduce Quik-Fix in some fashion. So typically that'll involve getting Double Helix involved, but not always, and just getting our missions around and just in circulation for our combo so we can keep extending. So we're in part 1, we're in checkmark 1 of that part of our combo, because right now what we're doing is we're trying to resolve Master Plan on and off the field in order for us to search another Spiral Resort and 2 more Spiral monsters so we can go into an even greater combo line. And Master Plan is also the one that searches you your missions. And in this particular case, we want to search a rescue. We're going to send that rescue, and we're going to send the big red that is on the field just to draw 2 cards. And if people ash you or imperm you at this point, it doesn't matter, because what we really want to achieve is the send effect. We don't really care about the draw 2, but the draw 2 is nice. It's just good to have somebody waste an interaction on that, because there's a lot more in our combo that we don't actually want people negating, right? At this point, I like to link into Linkuriboh, because if you don't have Dullahan later on, you're going to want Linkuriboh as your third dark to make Curious. And in some fringe situations, Linkuriboh comes in really clutch, because you can tribute out any level 1 monster from your field in case you just need a dark or you need to negate some kind of attack. It just comes in handy, and it's good to have in your graveyard. And with Linkuriboh and Master Plan, we're going to link into Barricade Board Blocker. Barricade Board Blocker is going to be our primary chain blocker for Master Plan, and on top of that, it also serves the additional role of sending any spiral missions or dangers or whatever it is we want. But we do primarily use it as a chain blocker, so Master Plan's Graveyard Effect, which is one of the few hard ones per turns in this deck, to resolve. So we're going to have Master Plan's Graveyard Effect resolve, which allows us to search 1 Spiral Resort and 1 Spiral monster we're choosing except for Master Plan, and we're going to chain block it with Barricade Board Blocker, who's going to send any monster in order for us to get a continuous or field spell at the end of our turn from our graveyard. So since we want to chain block this effect and we don't want it to get ashed or skullmeistered or ghostbelled, we're going to send Nessie as cost. just so it resolves in that order with Chainlink 1 Master Plan and Chainlink 2 Barricade Board Blocker. And if for whatever reason you can't seem to get this going on your copy of Master Duel, just make sure to go into your settings and go into your activation order settings and just set them to on. And when you do that, you're able to set the order in which you want things to activate when they both activate at the same time. Alright, and because a lot of hand traps like Ghost Spell or Ash Blossom are a when effect, Barricade Board Blocker prevents them from targeting Master Plan's effect in the graveyard, so that's really nice, and that is why the chain block stage here is very important. Alright, so once that does resolve, we're able to search our 2 monsters. So in this case, I'm going to search Sleeper, and with Spiral Resort, I'm going to search Super Agent. Alright, and because we did drop a Nessie, it's going to activate in the graveyard. It's just going to ask us to search any other danger that we want, and because Jackalope is the most versatile, that's the one I'm going to pick. Alright, now that we have another resort in our hand, we're going to activate it, sending the other one to the graveyard, and you can just search whatever other spiral you're missing and add it to your hand. And of course, if you are searching off a Spiral Resort, try to search for monsters that are not gears, because Quik-Fix is going to go through a few more loops to search this himself. So try to search monsters that, you can't normally get off of the effects of anything else. So in this case, I'm going to search Super Agent. Okay, and now that we have Master Plan resolving on and off the field, we're ready to take her for another loop because we want to build double helix to keep extending and searching us more spiral missions. So we're going to special summon Master Plan from the graveyard here. Okay, and because she is a soft once per turn, every time she's summoned to the field, she's going to search you another spiral mission. And in order for double helix to resolve, in order for him to special summon something into the zone that he points to, he has to know the top card of our opponent's deck. And since we don't know it yet, we're going to search Spiral Mission Assault so we can special summon one spiral monster from our hand. That spiral monster is going to be Drone, and after we link away Quik-Fix and Master Plan, we are going to put him right below Barricade Board Blocker, and then we're just going to special summon Quik-Fix from the graveyard now that he can do so because a Spiral Super Agent is on the field. And so when he does send that Spiral Mission Assault to the graveyard, it's eligible to be banished to special summon one monster, and Quik-Fix is going to search you the drone that you need in order to make sure that double helix resolves successfully. So now that that's said and done, we can use that assault. We're going to banish it, and that's going to allow us to special summon drone to the field. And remember, keeping in line with that L shape, we want to leave this part just nice and open. And drone is going to set the top 3 cards of our opponent's deck. And in this case, it's just going to be monster, monster, spell. And this is kind of important, but before you go into activating double helix's effect, I always like to overlay my 2 level 1s, Quik-Fix and Drone at this point usually, into Ghost Trick Dullahan. And the reason I like to do that is because a lot of people will often save Nibs or just other board breakers like Gamma, or they'll try to Ash you at this point sometimes, but especially Nib is a common one here. You want to make sure that you have Quik-Fix overlaid into an Xyz monster, because if he gets tributed away off of the effect of Nibiru and he's naked on the field without being in an Xyz monster, he's just going to get banished, since his actual effect states that if he special summons himself to the field, he is banished the next time he leaves it. However, being inside an Xyz monster overrides that, so that's also why we run this level 1 Xyz, so we can loop Quik-Fix one more time. So this is kind of just a precaution, because if you end up losing Quik-Fix off of a Nibiru, hypothetically, it's going to be really hard for you to pick yourself up again after this point, because you won't have much of a way to send your rescues aside from using like Nightmare Unicorn to spin a card. So in this case, we like to just save that, and if we do get Nibiru'd, we can always special summon Super Agent, since we normally will know the card by that point, and then we can special summon Helix from the we can special summon Quik-Fix from the graveyard and so on, and you can kind of pick yourself back up again, making something of a good board. So sorry for going on the tangent. Now that the 2 level 1s are overlaid in a Dullahan, we're going to activate double helix, and he's going to call monster. Alright, and now that he calls monster, you're going to summon the other Master Plan that is typically in your deck at this point. And that Master Plan is going to search you another spiral mission. Okay, and if it isn't already obvious, this is part of the resolving master plan off and on in the field, making sure our extenders stay in our hand. We're in that part where we are trying to get all our materials in the graveyard so we can fully extend and build our board. Alright, so Quik-Fix is going to send that Spiral Mission Rescue. He's going to special summon himself to the field again, and he's going to search Last Resort, which is the last Spiral gear that we need, to special summon Sleeper to the field for our end board. Alright, and this is normally where I move to step 2, which is start building your board. At this point, you already have, more than enough extenders in the form of rescues because you've introduced one in your graveyard. The other one may be used up at this point, but Master Plan is still going to go for a few more. I think I want to say one more loop actually, and search through the last rescue. And that, with all these other monsters you have in your hand, are usually enough to finish you up. And in order for us to turn on our Synchro engine, this is when we start linking into Curious, which requires 3 darks of different types but same attributes. And usually we will end up using 3 darks to fulfill that requirement. So if you're a Sylvan Princess Sprite player and you don't own a Ghost Trick Dullahan, you're going to end up tributing out Link Haribo. You're going to tribute out Quik-Fix, and you're going to end up special summoning Link Haribo, and he's going to be your 3rd dark in the form of a Cybers. But since in this case we do have Ghost Trick Dullahan, you can use Dullahan in lieu of Link Haribo, which does come in handy sometimes in more like complicated combos that require a bit more material. So in this case, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and use Link Haribo, Barricade Board Blocker, and Ghost Trick Dullahan, or you can use Master Plan, or, depending on the situation. Since I play Dullahan, I like to go into Dullahan, Barricade Board Blocker, and Spiral Master Plan, and I like to leave Quik-Fix here as a Destrudo target. But again, if you do play Sylvan Princess Sprite, I apologize. If you do play Sylvan Princess Sprite, you're normally going to go this direction. Alright. And that goes into Curious. Curious on Link Summon is going to send 1 card from the deck to the graveyard. A Foolish Burial effect, basically. And we normally want to send Destrudo off of this effect. Without Destrudo, we can't start our danger plays. We can't start our Synchro plays, and he's necessary in order for us to go into halq. Okay, so now that he's in the graveyard, you can go ahead and link away Ghost Trick Dullahan and Curious Lightsworn Dominion, or in this case, your Sylvan Princess Sprite, and you can go into Appaloosa. And remembering that you already know the top card of your opponent's deck, you can special summon Agent and just call the monster in this case. You're going to special summon that, and you can just activate Destrudo's effect and target Super Agent, and then there you go, you have Destrudo on the field. Then Destrudo and Double Helix are going to go into Crystal halq because it's a tuner and a non-tuner. And now you're pretty much full into your Synchro plays. You're on the next step of building board. And like I said before, because this is a non-linear deck, even though I'm showing you linear lines, there will be situations where you will do all these things out of order. Sometimes you'll build board before you even get to extend, and vice versa. So Crystal halq is going to search Jet Synchron in this case. And now that Jet Synchron's on the field, you can go ahead and special summon Master Plan from your graveyard. You want a level 7 on the field, and that with Jet Synchron is going to go into Borload Savage, which is going to be your first Omni Negate on your turn. Alright, and there you go. That's going to send both of them to the graveyard, and you're going to go ahead and special summon Borload Savage Dragon. Okay, he's going to activate, and he's going to attach Curious as the 3 Boral counters to him. And the reason we like to do this is because even if Curious leaves the field, let's say off the effect of a Harpy's Feather Duster at this point, you do get a chance to search 1 card in your graveyard and add it to your hand. So if for whatever reason that does end up happening, you can either end up with a Monster Reborn or a 1-for-1, or even like an Effect Veiler or an Ash, depending on what you were milling previously. So that's definitely valuable. Alright, and now that Borload Savage is on the field, we're going to special summon Jet Synchron again. And the reason we're doing that is because we want to go into an IP Masquerena that we're later going to use on our opponent's turn. So we're just going to send anything at this point. Because we did mill our rescues early, we're just going to send any blank card. Alright, and Super Agent and Jet Synchron are going to go into IP Masquerena. Alright, and that being said, you're almost done. All you have to do is special summon Sleeper to the field at the cost of banishing any 3 Spiral cards of your choice. I normally like to do 2 Master Plan, 1 Big Red, since by the time I get to this part of my combo, Master Plan has kind of outlived her usefulness, but it really is up to you depending on the situation. And once Spiral Sleeper summoned to the field, your pop 2, you can activate Spiral Gear Last Resort and just equip it, and now he's basically a tower unless that is removed. So that's pretty good. And so also I'll just kind of go over really quick what this end board is supposed to do. At this point we're just going to end our phase, and Barricade Board Blocker is going to give you the Spiral Resort because he resolved on the field, and the other Spiral Resort is going to ask you to recycle 1 card. I usually like to do Drone just in case shit hits the fan and I need to, for whatever reason, guess the top card again, and then special summon Agent from the graveyard off the effect of a rescue. So you're gonna know depending on the situation. And with 2 Spiral Resorts in our hand, it's very likely, if not guaranteed, that we'll end up with that Drone if we need it. Alright, so you can choose to end with Agent on the field or special summon him on the opponent's turn. It's really up to you. But I'm just going to go over a quick demo on how to use this end board, and it's going to just basically start with tagging out Halq. Alright, Halq is going to go into Desert Locust, which is going to minus your opponent a card. They're going to discard any card of their choice. Alright, and at this point you can special summon your Super Agent, which is going to serve as the level 4 mat for Baron, that's going to Synchro summon together with your Desert Locust. Alright, and we're going to special that to the field. Desert Locust is going to force a discard, and since Super Agent was special summoned off of the effect of a Spiral card, that means he gets a free Spell Trap pop, and we're going to go ahead and pop that. Desert Locust can activate at this point, and he's going to Synchro summon into Baron de Fleur. Alright, and there you go, you have 2 Omni Negates on your opponent's turn. And if you happen to deplete your Appaloosa, you can just go ahead and IP climb before the end of the main phase to Unicorn Spin any card of your choice. So for example, let's say we were doing that right now. We would just go ahead and go into a Unicorn. And of course, do not do this with a 1600 mat Appaloosa unless you absolutely have to. But yep, and Unicorn would just go ahead and special summon itself and spin 1 card. Alright, so that's pretty much how a lot of the interactions work with this end board. And it looks like they ended up using another card. And we're just going to go ahead and just let that go because they're not using it. Okay, we're going to negate that with a Ghost Spell. Alright, and as you can see, because we had so many hand traps in our hand, we actually didn't have to use most of the interactions that we had on the field. So yeah. I hope that was somewhat educational, but that is how the Desert Locust variant's going to work, and it's also how, in a way, the TG Wonder Magician one works, because you're going to be tagging out Halq, but instead you're going to be going into TG Wonder Magician, and you're going to have Dagda on your end board to search out your Scythe. So otherwise, you know, it's pretty much the same, you just don't end on IP Masquerena, you end on Dagda instead. So there you go, that's pretty much the quick overview for just basic Spiral combo building and just the Magician Souls and Quik-Fix variant for Desert Locust variants. Alright, so for our next combo, we're going to be going over the Drone and Agent combo, which, while the name implies that it is a 2-card combo, in order for it to fully combo into a board, it has to be a 3-card combo. So technically speaking, it's more like Drone, Agent, and a 3rd body you can get on the field no matter what the heck it is. So typically what you're going to run into most of the time is kind of a hand like this, where you're going to have either like a Resort or a Drone or an Agent, or some way to search them, and then hopefully a danger that can kind of move things along. So in a situation like this, with Foolish Burial in the hand, I would probably play this a lot differently, but again, for just the sake of demonstration, we're just going to pretend that Burial is not there, and we're just going to go into Drone Agent combo. So for this one, you know, we're just going to start by special summoning Resort. We're going to see if we can get that Drone in our hand. And the thing about this is that while it's a very linear combo and it can be very easy to learn, it is also extremely prone to just dying to interruption. Because the thing about it is that you kind of have to turbo and a helix with it. So, you know, you summon Drone, he sets the card, and then after that you special summon Super Agent and he guesses the card. And you can kind of see where this is going. Like if you're on the other side of like this field, you're going to be like, well, he's probably going to link into double helix, right? And then he's going to guess the card again. So like if you have a Gamma or anything like that, or if you want to nib at this point, like as soon as Master Plan hits the field, you as a player in most cases are kind of screwed, because double helix absolutely in this situation has no choice but to search Master Plan, because we need to introduce her into the rotation. And on top of that, Master Plan has to search has to search Assault Mission, because if she doesn't, there's no way for you to special quick onto the field after you already used your normal summon on Drone. So in this case, like let's say they nibbed you right at this point. If you didn't have a danger, or let's say the danger just didn't send what it was you wanted to, it'd be like really rough going here on out. But in this case, you know, we're just going to see if Mothman can get himself on the field, and he sends the assault, which is incredible. That almost never happens. But anyway, with him on the field now, we can go into Barricade Board Blocker and just send something to chain block Master Plan. And, you know, it's incredible that we drew into a Souls, but again, for sake of demonstration, we're just going to go right to it. We're going to have Master Plan and Mothman link into Barricade Board Blocker. And just so we can kind of have everything like as linear as possible, I'm just going to send that Foolish Burial that we weren't going to use in the first place. Alright, and because Master Plan is chain blocked, she resolves. She allows you to search Quik-Fix, and we're going to go ahead and search Sleeper with our second resort. Okay. So now that that's there, we're going to search Sleeper. And now that Assault is in the graveyard, you know, in every other combo line, what we've done is we've specialed out Drone off the effect of Assault, but here we do the opposite. We're going to special Quik-Fix onto the field. Alright. He's going to search us the big red that we need to bring back Master Plan for another loop. Alright. And now that she's going to be on the field again, what we can do is search our rescues now. And again, if we were playing this just like with the cards that we had, at this point I would have special summoned Magician Souls and I would have sent these two just to see if I could draw into anything. But in this case, what we're going to do instead is we're going to use Link Haribo. We're going to link away Quik-Fix so we can get Quik-Fix on another loop. Alright, so now not only is Quik-Fix able to send this Spiral Mission rescue, but we have 3 darks on the field to special summon Curious. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and send that Spiral Mission. We're going to put Quik-Fix over here, and he's going to search Last Resort for us. And now we pretty much have a sleeper that we can special summon at the end. Alright, we're going to go into Curious because we need to get that Destrudo search so we can turn on our Synchro engine. Okay. And we're gonna just see what Curious sends. Although, you know, as long as Last Resort is in your hand, Last Resort and Sleeper are in your hand anyway, you don't have to worry too much. We did get a Zephyros send, and Zephyros is a really cool tech if you need additional level 4s. He can be something of a conditional brick, but at times if you use him off the effect of Grepher or Foolish Burial, he can get you an additional search off of Spiral Resort, which is nice. I'm not going to use him just because, you know, most cases you probably are not going to mill him. But I'll go ahead and special summon Destrudo onto the field now, and I'm going to target Quik-Fix. Alright, and now that Quik-Fix is pretty much all done, we're going to link him away into Appaloosa with him and Curious. Alright. And now that Kriston Halq is available, we're going to link away Destrudo and Double Helix to go into Kriston Halq. Kriston Halq is going to search Jet Synchron, and he's already in our hand in this situation, so that's pretty nice. We're just going to go ahead and special summon him to the field. In some cases, you can also just send him off the effect of any other card, and you can still go full combo with it. So if that's ever a choice for you, you can do that. Alright, we're going to special summon Master Plan off the rescue that we sent there earlier. And since we've only used one, we're going to go ahead and use another one here. We're going to search another one, that is. We're going to go into Borreload Savage, which is going to put Jet Synchron back in the grave. Alright. Borreload Savage is going to attach Curious. We're going to send Jet Synchron down here. Alright. And the thing here is because we don't have a level 4 for Super Agent to put here on the end board later, we're going to have to bring out Master Plan again. And Master Plan is going to search us the third rescue. And with that third rescue, you can special summon Super Agent. But the thing is, for that, you're going to have to wait until the opponent's turn to do that. You're going to have to flip it, hopefully, and then when Sleeper has to destroy something, he's going to destroy that rescue, which is then going to allow you to use it on that turn to special summon Super Agent. Right? You can also choose to forego Masquerena in this particular combo line, and then just leave Agent here. That's also a choice. But again, if this was like a real game, I probably would have just used Souls as that material. Okay? And there you go. You're just going to send pretty much any 3 cards once more. I think we only had 1 Master Plan in rotation for this particular combo. So in this case, you know what? Even though I can get Borg back, get Resort back off of Borg, I'm just going to do this because I'd rather have like more of a grind game in this particular board. Okay, and then you're just going to set that rescue mission. And then you can pretty much use it at any point. If you flip it over in your opponent's turn, you can probably even get Double Helix back into your extra deck. Or if you want to save Drone, you can leave Drone there and then send that back to your hand off of the effective rescue. So that's definitely an alternative. But yes, again, with the Drone and Agent combo, it kind of becomes a bit of a 3-card combo because as you can see, we were already kind of like, not struggling necessarily, but we weren't like drowning in mats like we are in the other combo lines. So you do have to play a little bit more conservatively when you do this combo, and you definitely have to hope that you don't get negated, at least in important choke points with this one. Alright, so now we're going to be going over the Grepher and Nessie combo, which you can pretty much go into as long as you have either, you know, Grepher and Nessie in your hand, obviously, or a small world that can pretty much search you either of these two, or a reinforcement of the army that can search you Grepher. So in this case, we have a really good hand, but for the sake of the demonstration, I'm not going to go into the optimal play of just using SPYRAL Resort and grabbing Quik. We're going to go through a Dugares line with Grepher and Nessie. And you're going to see that the pros of this in particular is that you get 1 free loop with Master Plan, which means that you don't have to use a rescue or a big red or anything like that for one of them. So that means you tend to have 1 left over. However, the cons are that if it's your only combo line, it is very weak to Imperm, Ash, and just any form of interruption because all the dangers have to resolve. And Grepher himself and Dugares have to resolve in order for you to do this. But it's a really good backup combo line. So whenever I draw like a hand like this, I like to go into, you know, the typical SPYRAL combo line, and then I save Grepher and Nessie for the follow-up turn, or if I get gammaed, Nibued, or interrupted in any other way in the middle of my combo, I still have a way to get Master Plan on the field. And that definitely enrages other people that are going up against you because they'll have like 2 to 3 hand traps and they're trying to use them all on you, and then they see you're gassing so hard that they just end up leaving. So that's always really fun. But again, for the sake of demonstration, I'm just going to go into a hard Grepher Nessie combo, and we'll take it from there. So obviously, in this case, we don't have Grepher, so we're just going to use Reinforcement of the Army. We're going to search Grepher with it. And what you basically want to achieve off of this combo is you just want to get 2 level 4s on the field so you can go into Dugares. So the first one is Dark Grepher. He's going to special summon himself off of discarding Nessie, because he can do so off of 1 level 5 or higher Dark Monster. And in some situations you can also do Master Plan, but just for this demonstration I'm just going to do Nessie. Alright, so when he discards Nessie, it procs Nessie's effect in the graveyard, which lets you search any danger card and just add it to your hand. And we already have Jackalope, but usually the card that you would search is Jackalope, so I'm just going to get Tsuchinoko. But in these cases, you would normally search Jackalope, and then Grepher would discard the Jackalope in your hand, which would also activate Jackalope in the grave. And on top of that, you're also going to discard one other dark monster from your deck to the graveyard. So if you discard one dark monster, you basically get a Foolish Burial. So what we're going to do is we're going to send Master Plan so we can introduce her into our combo line. Jackalope is going to go off, and he's going to ask you, what do you want to special summon to the field? We're going to special summon Mothman because he's a level 4. Alright, and now that we have 2 level 4s on the field, we're eligible to Xyz summon Dugares. Now, the thing about Dugares is that because we use his second effect, he lets us special summon anything from our graveyard at the cost of 2 of his materials, but we also have to skip our main phase 1. So that means that everything from this point onward has to be put into attack, because otherwise if you, let's say, go into your turn afterward and your opponent doesn't forfeit, what happens is that you have to go straight into the battle phase, and when you go straight in the battle phase, obviously you can't OTK because a lot of your monsters are in defense mode. So remember to just have everything in attack at this point. It does risk you, being weak to lightning storms and droplets, but it's worth it. Alright, so we're going to skip our next main phase 1 at the cost, as cost for special summoning Master Plan from the graveyard. Master Plan is going to activate, and we're just going to go ahead and search a rescue. Alright, and from this point onward, remember, we're just going to go Barricade Borg, and we're going to Chain Link 1 Master Plan, Chain Link 2 Barricade Board Blocker, so he sends this rescue. And just like everything else, we do it for cost. So if someone tries to imperm your Barricade Board Blocker, it's not going to stop them from, it's not going to stop us from sending this to the graveyard. Okay, so we're pretty much back at the point that, we've done all our combos on. Master Plan asks us what we want to search, so we're going to search Quik-Fix, and we get another Spiral Resort. So the thing about this is that with this particular combo line, because of the way just everything happened, you can only search 1 monster with Spiral Resort and 1 monster off of Master Plan, and we still need the 3rd one. So like in this case, I'm going to search Sleeper, and I have Quick, but I don't have Super Agent. And for this particular combo line, you do want a level 4 on your end board so you can go into Baron. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to do everything as usual, and we're gonna ignore that we had that Spiral Resort that we drew with. We're just gonna play with what we had and acquired up until this point, and we're going to just go into double helix just like usual. We're gonna use our big red to bring back Master Plan so we can get another loop off of her. Master Plan is gonna search us the assault we need in order to special drone onto the field, and we're gonna go into double helix. But instead of special summoning Master Plan off the effect of Double Helix, what we're going to do is we're going to search Super Agent. Alright, we're going to send that Assault. We're going to put Quik-Fix all the way over here. He's going to search Drone, and we're going to special Drone. Alright. And Drone's going to set the top 3, as usual. We're gonna go with Trap at the top, and we're gonna overlay into Dullahan just to make sure, again, as a precaution. And now the reason we're adding Super Agent to our hand is for 2 reasons. The first reason is because we're gonna need him later. He can special summon himself from the hand as long as we just know the top card. And also we need this link spot open for Quik-Fix to link himself away into Link Karibo, because we're just going to need that additional dark. And so if we were to special summon something here, and let's say you're a Sylvan Princess Sprite player, you would not be able to use Dullahan as your 3rd mat. You would have to go into Link Karibo. So that's kind of the reason we have to do that in this particular combo. So that being said, we're going to special... we're going to add Super Agent to our hand. I'm so sorry. Okay, and there he is. We're not special summoning him. We can detach Quik-Fix from Dullahan now. Alright, and we'll go ahead and special summon Master Plan of the field 1 more time, and make sure that when you do that, again, because we need this particular spot open, just don't put her there. Alright, she's going to search us another rescue. We're going to summon Quick. And we're going to send that rescue again. He's gonna search us the last resort that we need for Sleeper. And now we're gonna use him as Link Kuriboh material. Okay, now we're gonna link away Link Kuriboh, Barricade Ward Blocker, and if you were a Sylvan Princess Sprite player, you would do Master Plan, but since I can afford to do it, I'm just gonna use Dullahan. Alright, and then that is cost for Curious. We're going to send Destrudo to the graveyard. Alright. And now we're gonna send 3 more, and nothing I'm too sad about losing. We're gonna special summon Super Agent to the field, and we're going to call Trap. And we're doing this so we can turn on Destrudo in the graveyard. So now Destrudo's going to proc. He's going to target Super Agent. He's going to special summon himself to the field. Now we can special summon Appaloosa. And remember, at this point when you're building board, because this is a Dugares board, you do not want to put anything in defense mode, because you want to go for game on the 3rd turn. Alright, we're going to go into Kriston Halq with double Helix and Destrudo. Alright, and that's going to allow Kriston Halq on Link Summon to search Jet Synchron. Alright, we're gonna go into Boarload Savage Dragon. Alright, and he's just going to attach Curious. Okie dokie, and now we're just going to, since we have another rescue that we haven't brought into rotation, we're going to special summon Master Plan again. Alright, she's gonna search us another one. So as you can see, the reason we like to loot Master Plan is so she can keep giving us these missions that we can then send to the graveyard. Jet's gonna send that for us, and we're gonna go into IP Masquerena. Okie dokie, and then that just pretty much leaves you with Sleeper that you can special summon off of sending any 3. And the thing about the Grepher combos, you normally only have 1 Master Plan in rotation unless the other one's milled. So what we're gonna just have to do is we're just gonna have to sacrifice double Helix. Or, you know, depending on what you think your opponent has, you may want to save double Helix to special summon off rescue in a grindier game. But for the purposes of demonstration, I'm just gonna do that because we definitely need Super Agent in the graveyard so we can special summon him this turn or next turn for Baron. Alright. And just because it's a Dugares combo, again, we're putting Sleeper in attack. And then you attach Last Resort, and there you go, you're all set. That's basically the full combo with the Grepher and Nessie line. And we still have, actually we're not going to get another Spiral Resort off of the effect because we don't have one, but that's pretty much it. Alright, moving along, I'm just going to start going over the smoke variants of Spiral. If you're at all familiar with Smoke Grenade of the Thief, you probably already know that this is a very common card that's used in Infernoble decks because they allow you to equip this card to an Infernoble, usually Infernoble Knight Emperor Charles, and then he's able to pop it in the end phase in order to basically look at your opponent's hand and just rip any one card from their hand and discard it. And that's a very powerful effect because it allows you to know everything about 1, what your opponent is playing, and 2, what kind of interactions they have for you, and 3, probably their game strategy depending on what cards they end up drawing into. Now, unlike Infernobles, the cool thing that Spiral can also do is set the top 3 cards of your opponent's deck using Drone, which is almost always done at some point in our combo, if everything goes right. So that's kind of the unique thing that Spiral brings to the table as far as smoke strats, because not only are we able to look at and control our opponent's hand, but we also control the top 3 cards that our opponent is going to draw. So unless they shuffle their deck at any point, for the next 3 turns, we know what kind of interactions are going to dish out at us, and we also know how to best to deal with it because we've already seen their hand. So that's definitely the biggest pro and the biggest draw to Smoke Grenade lists for Spiral. However, it does come with its own cons, just like all the others. In this case, for example, you do have to run Smoke Grenade of the Thief in your main deck, and there are times that you will just draw it and nothing's going to be going on in your hand. So it is a situational brick at times. However, it can be sent off of the effect of Magician's Souls, and it can also be pretty much sent off at danger, and it's not going to impact us at all because Charles can go ahead and grab any equipped spell to equip to himself at the end phase, whether it's in the, I believe, whether it's in the hand or graveyard. So that's really nice. Another con of this particular variant is that you do need a lot of level 4s. You need to be able to have a level 4 to go into Roland with, and then you're going to need another level 4 to go into Charles when you stack him with Roland. So that does kind of make it a little annoying, because normally while we do have Super Agent in rotation, we have to use a rescue on him that we otherwise would have wanted to save for, say, like the opponent's turn or for grind game. So you will find that most of the time, unless you end up drawing into a level 4 danger like Mothman that can special summon himself to the field, or unless you get Zephyros on the field by using his graveyard effect, you find that it's a little hard to get level 4s consistently enough without burning through your resources. But, you know, it's still worth it in the end, because most of the time you're able to get rid of the one critical interaction in your opponent's hand. And, you know, I tried a few test hands here, and I, for some reason, just could not get into a Magician's Souls and Quik-Fix hand, so I kind of found the next best thing here, which is pretty much Magician's Souls and Small World. So we can use Small World just by using Master Plan as our starter, and remember that because we do have 2 Master Plans in our deck, we are able to kind of expend one at times. We could also use Psyframe Gear Gamma to go into Quik-Fix, I believe, but in this case I'm just going to be using Master Plan, because if this was a real game, I would probably want to use that. Although you can start by special summoning Magician's Souls, and if you feel that your opponent has no interaction, then you can go ahead and special summon the card, and once Magician's Souls is on the field, Gamma's pretty much turned off, so you're able to use him as a Small World starter. So we're going to go ahead and do that actually. We're going to send the 1 Master Plan that's still in our deck to the graveyard, and we'll special summon Magician's Souls. And in this case, you know, there was no response from our opponent, so we can go ahead and just use Psyframe Gear Gamma, because at this point, there's not much use left for him. Alright, so now that we're going to activate Small World, we'll show Psyframe Gear Gamma to our opponent, and we have to find something that can allow us to go into Quik-Fix. And I think the best thing in this point would probably be Magician's Souls, because Magician's Souls has only one thing in common with Quik-Fix, and that's that it's a level 1. Alright, and we do have 3 of those, and we already have 1 in circulation here. So that being said, we can now search Quik-Fix off of Psyframe Gear Gamma. Thank you, Small World, and we're gonna go ahead and just normal summon Quik-Fix to the field. And, you know, if you've watched the other guides that I had in this video, you're gonna find that whenever you start with Magician's Souls and Quik-Fix, the beginning is almost exactly the same. It's almost exactly the same as Magician's Souls in any form of revival, so that's one thing to consider. You're just going to go ahead and use Quik-Fix and bring back Master Plan from the graveyard, the one that you sent with Magician's Souls. Then you just use Magician's Souls once more to send the big red and send Spiral Mission Rescue for a draw 2 effect. Alright, and so we drew into Nessie and Called by the Grave. And at this point, we can just go into Link Karibo, just in case we need him later. And if you are a Sylvan Princess Sprite player, or someone that does not play a Dark Rank 1 Xyz, as far as your loop, you may need to go ahead and make Link Karibo. We're going to go ahead and use Link Karibo and Master Plan. We're going to link into Barricade Ward Blocker, just like usual. We're going to do this because it's kind of the safer path to get Master Plan to resolve in the graveyard. And we'll chain link 1 Master Plan and chain link 2 Barricade Ward Blocker. And since we already sent our rescues, and Nessie probably is going to be better in my hand, I'm going to get rid of that second Master Plan that I've been sitting on for a while. Alright, and this also allows us to use it as payment for Sleeper, which is nice. Okay, so now that that's all set, Master Plan is going to allow us to search 1 Spiral monster, and she's also going to give us a Spiral Resort, which will let us search another monster. So in this case, I decided to search Sleeper. We're going to search Super Agent, which is a very important part of this combo line. Alright, and now that we have all the cards we need, we can start going ahead and going into the second part of our play, which is just searching all the mission rescues so we can go ahead and start building our board. And we do this by, you know, just looping Master Plan and Quik-Fix again, and also just using Double Helix as an extra loop. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and activate Spiral Mission Rescue. And we're going to special summon a master plan to the field, which is going to give us another Spiral Mission. Alright, and now that she's out, we're going to search assaults, and we're going to do that because we need Drone on the field. We're going to need Drone to help us figure out what the top 3 are. So we're going to link away Quik-Fix and Master Plan, and we're just going to put it right under Barricade Ward Blocker. Alright, and that puts Quik-Fix in the grave, but it does also activate his effect now that we have a super agent on the field, and we're going to send Spiral Mission Assault. Right, Quik-Fix is going to search the drone we need now, and this drone is going to set the top 3 cards for us. And we're also going to use it to overlay into an Xyz monster shortly. Alright, so now that drone's on the field, we're going to activate its effect. Alright, and we have Magician Soul, Dark Magician Girl, Apprentice Magician. Just put the monsters in whatever order you see fit. And now, obviously, before going into Double Helix, we're going to go into our rank 1 Xyz just to make sure we have the protection we need for Quik-Fix. Double Helix is going to call monsters since we had all monsters on the top deck. Alright, and now we can special summon Master Plan to the field again. Alright, now that Master Plan is here, we're just going to go ahead and search another rescue. And we're going to detach Quik-Fix from Dullahan so we can have him come for another loop. Oops, and sorry, my computer froze there for a second. Alright, we're going to special summon Quik for the last time. Send that rescue, and we're just going to put Quik-Fix over here. We already have Last Resort in the hand, so there was nothing left for him to search. But now you'll notice that we have 3 darks on the field through Ghost Trick Dullahan, Spiral Master Plan, and Barricade Ward Blocker. So we're going to use these 3 to go into Curious. And Curious is going to give us a Foolish Burial effect. Alright, and when she hits the field, we're going to send Destrudo in this case, which will enable our Synchro place. Alright, and as an added effect, Curious mills another 3. It was just a bunch of cards, nothing important. We're going to special summon Super Agent to the field now, and we're going to call Monster again. Alright, and remember, we do want to save our Super Agent for future comboing with the Smoke pack anyway, so we are going to leave him there. And we're going to go ahead and link away Quik-Fix and Curious into an Appaloosa. Alright, once Appaloosa hits the field, you're pretty much safe to special summon Destrudo, hopefully. And we're going to just put him right here. And now we're able to link away Spiral Double Helix and Destrudo into Kriston Halq. Okay, once Halq hits the field, we're going to special summon Jet Synchron from our deck. Alright, and we will also special summon Master Plan from the graveyard. Because we're going to use Master Plan to make Borreload Savage, which is our main Omni Negate on turn 1. Okie dokie, we're going to search that last rescue. And we're going to go into Savage. Okay, so now he's here, we're going to attach Curious as its Boral counters. And now we have a Spiral Mission Rescue that Jet can grab, send to the grave, and special summon himself. Okay, we have a level 4 and a level 1 tuner, which is going to allow us to go into Infernoble Captain Roland. Alright. Now that Roland hits the field, we're going to just activate his effect so he can add 1 Dark Warrior, well not 1 Dark, just 1 Warrior in the end phase, and he's also going to help us send Smoke Grenade to the graveyard later. Alright, and now, like I said before, we just need another level 4, so we're going to use our last rescue here. See, as you can see, we've burned through all of them, and we're going to special summon Super Agent to the field. Alright, and Super Agent and Roland are going to go into Charles. Alright. And Charles has a very low defense, so I always like to keep him in attack. Now that we're all set here, we're going to go into Sleeper, and we're going to banish just the 2 Master Plans and the big red, at least in my opinion. Alright, and just like that, Sleeper hits the field. And you can equip Last Resort, and after that, you're pretty much all set. You can set anything else, and oh, don't forget not to activate Charles's effect until the end phase, at least going first. And we can just go ahead and set that callback. So that's pretty much the basic end board for an Infernoble Spiral kind of variant with smoke in it. You'll find that you're going to have just one Omni Negate in the form of Warlord Savage, but if you do choose to have Formula Synchron and you say, let's say you end up burning through your one negate for your opponent's turn, you can tag out into Formula Synchron and use Formula Synchron and Warlord Savage to go into Baron de Fleur. But that's definitely situational. Normally it's assumed that if you have Charles on the field and Charles can get rid of like the problem card in your opponent's hand, then you're not going to have to deal with as much interaction. So I'm just going to demo real quick how you go over the end phase and just what happens. So now that we're done with our end board, we're just going to end. And Barricade Board Blocker, if you activate his effect and you have an eligible card in the graveyard, will just search you Spiral Resort from the grave. He'll add it to your hand. And now we can send that Smoke Grenade of the Thief that we're basically going to be doing our Charles thing with. That's sent off of the effect of Charles, and off of the effect of Roland. And Roland also lets us add one warrior to our hand in the end phase. Okay, so now Charles is going to go off, and you're able to activate the effect. You're going to search and target the Smoke Grenade of the Thief in your graveyard. And once that's set, Charles is going to activate. Charles can then pop this card, and that's going to activate Smoke Grenade. And just like that, we're able to look at our opponent's hand. And so we already know that they're going to draw into Dark Magician Girl, and we know that this is what they have in their hand. So in this case, you know, I'm going to just get rid of Magician and Dark Illusion, and just like that, we've minused them, and we also know what they're going to draw into, which is very valuable. So hopefully that kind of shed some light on how this variant works, and if you just stick around, we're going to be going over the other combo lines for this deck. Alright, so for this next combo demo, we're going to be going over the Drone Agent and One Body combo, and this is going to be for the smoke variants of Spiral. So whenever I've mentioned previously that the smoke variants require a lot of materials, this is exactly what I mean, because with this particular line, unless you end up with a level 4 somewhere in your combo, either drawn off by a danger or sent as like Zephyros or over the form of like just having Grepher on the field, you're probably not going to be able to go full combo with this. In addition, unless you send all 3 rescues to the graveyard, you're also not going to be able to go full combo with this particular line. So when I drew this hand, I noticed that, you know, we do have that third body in the form of Jackalope, but also if we can get that rescue that we drew into the graveyard, we can hopefully go full combo with this. If we don't, I'm going to try and see what kind of board I can build temporarily up until we can get into a better board. So in this case, we're going to go ahead and start with Spiral Resort. This is going to be so we can search Super Agent, since this is the only card that we still need. We're going to activate it, and we're going to add Super Agent to the hand. And now we're going to normal summon Drone to the field. Drone is going to call the top 3 cards, and we're going to go ahead and just put Spell, Spell, and Monster. We're going to special summon Super Agent to the field now that we know the top 3 cards, and we're going to put him right here next to Drone. With these 2 monsters, we can go ahead and link into Double Helix, which is going to allow us to special summon 1 Spiral to the field. And now we're going to go ahead and use that, and we are going to call Spell, sorry. We're going to call Spell, and we're going to special summon Master Plan of the field. Now, the reason this particular combo line gets tricky is because we can only loop Master Plan so many times in this one, and on the first one we have to search Assault. So by doing so, because we have to search Assault to special summon Quick to the field, we end up losing on one form of revival through a rescue, because we don't loop Master Plan enough times. So we're going to go ahead and special summon Jackalope to the field, hopefully, and it actually sends our Assault, which means we're able to send this rescue that we drew into and go full combo. So I'm going to go over that now. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and link away Master Plan, and we're going to link away Jackalope as well. We're going to go ahead and send Spiral Mission Rescue to the graveyard, which, because we drew into it, that means we are going to get 3 Spiral Rescues in rotation. So we're going to go ahead and send that to the grave, and since we already have our Assault in the grave, that means we can use that Assault right away to special summon Quick. It's a bit of like a technical thing, and this is what I mean by knowing how to resource manage with this deck in particular, because you can kind of like look at how many rescues you have in the grave and how many materials you're going to have on the field, and you can kind of gauge, after playing this deck for a long time, just how much material you're going to need to go into your end board. So in this case, we're going to activate the next Spiral Resort. We're going to just search whatever it is we're missing at this point, because we drew into Sleeper, so we can just add that last resort to our hand. Alright, we're going to special summon Quik off the effect of Assault, and with that we're going to go ahead and put him on the field. He's going to search Big Red for us, and with that Big Red we are going to special summon Master Plan, and this is going to be for our first loop. Alright, Master Plan is going to get on the field, and we're going to search another rescue. Alright, and with that rescue, we're just going to add that to our hand. Now what we're going to do next is we're going to link away Quik-Fix and a Link Karibo, and we're going to do this so we have a third mat for Curious, and also so we can send this rescue to the graveyard. If we hadn't drawn into, if we didn't search Last Resort off of the effect of Resort, we would have just searched Resort as well. But for now, we're just going to go ahead and do this. We have two Spiral Mission rescues in the graveyard, and now with Quik-Fix on the field, we have 3 darks. So what we're going to do is we're going to use Curious, and we're going to use these 3 darks as material. Curious is going to send us our Destrudo, so we can go ahead and turn on the Synchro package of our deck. Alright, so with that being said, let's go ahead and find him. There he is. And with that being said, Curious is also going to mill another 3. So we got Effect Veiler, Magician's Souls, and Reinforcement of the Army milled, which is fine. We're going to go ahead and special summon Destrudo, and we're going to target Quik-Fix since he's a level 6 or lower monster. And now that that's done, we're going to link in Appaloosa using Quik-Fix and Curious. And the reason we ended up doing Destrudo early was because we didn't have another level 6 or lower monster that would be eligible for Destrudo special summon. So now that Appaloosa's on the field, we can go ahead and link away Double Helix and Destrudo, and we're going to go ahead and go into Kriston Halq. Alright, and once my computer stops freezing, alright, we ended up with Kriston Halq on the field. It's going to search out and special summon Jet Synchron. And now that Jet Synchron's on the field, we can go into full combo because, like I said earlier, we have 2 rescues in the graveyard. So we're going to go ahead and use the first rescue. We're going to use it on Master Plan. And what Master Plan is going to do is she is going to search you the 3rd rescue. And with that 3rd rescue, Jet's going to send it later, but for now we're going to go into Savage. Alright, Savage is going to go ahead and attach Curious for the portal counters. And now we can special summon Jet Synchron by sending that other rescue. Alright. Now that we have enough, we're going to go ahead and use that 2nd rescue. We're going to use it to special summon Super Agent to the field, and this is so we can build Roland. So once Roland is built, we're going to use that. We're going to use level 1 tuner and a level 4 monster to go into Roland. Roland is going to eventually, at the end phase, search us everything we need for this combo line. Alright, but for now, he's just going to stand there. We're going to use our final rescue, and we're going to use that on Agent, because a level 5 tuner and a level 4 monster are eligible to go into Charles, which is level 9. Alright, so once that's done, we got Charles on the field. Alright, and we're going to put Charles in attack because he has a defense of 200. So we're just going to do that, and now we're going to put Sleeper on the field at the cost of any 3 spirals of your choice. So we're going to just do these. Alright, and now that Sleeper is on the field, we're just going to attach Last Resort to him, and just make sure not to activate Charles just yet. And we have another Called by the Grave, so we're just going to put it right here. And so just like that, we're able to get full combo. And just remember again that this won't always happen. We just got lucky because we ended up with the 3rd rescue in our opening hand. But remember, unless you have a level 4 on the field, or unless you're able to get all 3 rescues in rotation, unfortunately the Drone Agent 3rd Body combo is not full combo for the Infernoble Smoke variants. So just as usual, we're going to go ahead and send that Smoke Grenade to the Thief, and since we didn't use Dark Grepher, Roland added it to our hand. And then after that, you can just activate Charles's effect in the end phase. He's going to grab the Smoke Grenade that was in the graveyard, and he's just going to consequently pop it. And then that pretty much enables you to look at your opponent's hand once again. So that's pretty much the demonstration for the drone agent and the third body combo. Alright, so this time we're going to be going over the Grepher Nessie combo, and it's going to be for the smoke grenade variants. And in this case, as you can see, not only did we start with Dark Grepher and Nessie, but we also started with a 1-for-1. 1-for-1 is a great card, but unfortunately, because we're going to be only doing the 2-card combo demo here, we're not going to be using it. But in the cases where you do draw 1-for-1, it's pretty much a free combo line on its own, because you can just send anything and then just special summon Quik, and then Quik can search drone, and then that can get you to double helix. There are some other situations where 1-for-1 is incredibly flexible for searching like Jet Synchron, or let's say you already have Master Plan in the grave, you end up searching something else to fish her out, and so on and so forth. It's really good, and I'm probably going to go over 1-for-1 more in the more like non-linear combo lines that I'm going to be demonstrating, because it's a very versatile card. But in this case, we're just going to go Dark Grepher Nessie. This alone can take us in a full combo. We're going to start by discarding Nessie off of the effect of Dark Grepher. This is going to special summon Dark Grepher to the field, and it's also going to proc Nessie as well. So Nessie is going to proc in the graveyard, and it's going to prompt you for what card you want to add to your hand. We're going to add Jackalope because we want to special summon Mothman to the field. So Dark Grepher is going to send Jackalope to the graveyard, and in doing so, you can also send one card directly from your deck to the graveyard. So we're going to send Master Plan so we can res her off of the effect of Dugares. Jackalope is going to proc off of the discard from Dark Grepher, and we're going to special summon Mothman from our deck. Alright, this is going to allow us to use the 2 level 4s to overlay into Dugares, and then Dugares is going to help us special summon Master Plan off of his second effect, which allows us to special summon at the cost of our main phase 1 of our next turn. So remember, whenever you do use a Dugares combo, remember to put everything in attack by the end of your turn, just so you're able to go for game on the 3rd turn, provided you were able to hold off whatever interaction your opponent had. We're going to go ahead and search Spiral Mission Rescue off of the effect of Master Plan, and now we're going to use Dugares and Master Plan as material for Barricade Ward Blocker, which is going to chain block Master Plan and also send us the Spiral Mission Rescue. So we're going to chain block Master Plan by Chainlink 1 MP and Chainlink 2 Board Blocker, and that allows us to have that rescue in the graveyard. Once all that's said and done, Master Plan is going to prompt us for a search, and we're going to grab Quik-Fix. Alright, and after that we're going to use our Spiral Resort, and we're going to search for Sleeper. Alright. And remember, in the Grepher and Nessie combos, we always do have a leftover rescue as recourse, so you're going to use your double helix to actually search your missing monster. And since Infernobles like really value the level 4s, we're going to make sure we have Super Agent in rotation. So actually in this case, let's just search Super Agent. It really doesn't make a difference because you're going to end up searching both, but let's say you got Nibiru'd at the point where Super Agent, or sorry, double helix would go off. You're probably going to want Super Agent more than you're going to want Sleeper in this particular combo line. So we're going to go ahead and search Big Red off of the effect of Quik-Fix. Quik-Fix is going to activate Big Red. We're going to special summon Master Plan to the field. And Master Plan is going to search us the Assault, and this Assault is so we can special summon Drone to the field. We're going to link away Double Helix and Master Plan, and we're going to go straight into Double Helix right now. Alright, and now that there's a Super Agent on the field that's going to turn on Quik-Fix's Graveyard effect, he's going to be able to special summon himself to the field by sending one card to the grave. So we sent that Mission Rescue. We're going to search Drone off of the effect of Quik-Fix, and now that we have Assault in the grave, we can special summon it to the field. Alright, once Drone is on the field, we're going to set the top 3 cards of our opponent's deck, and we're just going to give him Magician Girl at the top card. Alright, we're going to overlay into Dullahan. And once that's all said and done, we're pretty much ready to activate Double Helix. We're going to call Monster, and we're going to add Sleeper to our hand. Alright, and now that Sleeper is in our hand, we're going to be able to detach Quik-Fix. And we're just going to remove him. We're going to target any card of our choice. And now we can special summon Master Plan from the grave. This is so Master Plan can give us another rescue, and so we have another material on the field for Curious. Right, so once Master Plan is on the field, she's going to search us another rescue. And then Quik-Fix, of course, is going to send it. All right, and normally in this case, I probably would have sent Tsuchinoko because I would have wanted Jet to send the rescue, because we get a plus off of activating Tsuchinoko because Quik-Fix's effect is a discard. But for the sake of the tutorial, again, we're just going to go into rescue. All right, Quik-Fix is going to send that rescue, and there's nothing left for him to search. And if you were a Sylvan Princess Sprite player who did not own Dullahan at this time, you would just go ahead and tribute out. Or actually, you could even just link. Yeah, sorry. We would just link Karibo off of using Quik-Fix, and you would use Link Karibo as your third dark. But in this case, since we do have Dullahan available, we're going to link away Barricade Board Blocker, Master Plan, and Ghost Trick Dullahan. Alright, we're going to use Curious, and we're going to use that to send Destrudo to the graveyard. Alright, and by sending Destrudo to the graveyard, you also activate Curious's second effect, which means you have to mill 3 from the top of your deck. So we ended up sending Tsuchinoko, Ash, and Gamma. Nothing too crazy. We're going to go ahead and make Appaloosa off of Quik-Fix and Curious. Alright, and once Curious is gone and Appaloosa is on the field, we're going to special summon Super Agent. We know the top card is a monster, so we're going to do that and put Super Agent right here. This is going to turn on Destrudo because he's able to target Super Agent. So we're going to go ahead and do that. We're going to special summon him, put him right here. We can now make Kriston Halq off of Double Helix and Destrudo because it requires 1 tuner. Alright, and that's going to put Halq over here. We're going to activate Halq, and Halq is going to special summon Jet from the deck. Alright, and we have, as far as I know, we have another rescue in the grave, so we are going to use that rescue to special summon Master Plan of the field. Alright, and now that Master Plan is on the field, she's going to search through the final rescue, and we're going to send that with Jet Synchron shortly. So what we're going to do is we are going to go into Borland Savage, and because this is a Dugares combo, you want to make sure that everything is an attack. So we're going to put Savage in attack. We're going to attach Curious to it for its counters. Alright. And now we're going to special summon Jet Synchron from the grave. We're going to send that rescue to the graveyard, and we're going to put it right here. And with Super Agent and Jet Synchron, you're going to be able to go into Roland. Roland is going to be activated. And we have Roland in our combo in order to search for Smoke Grenade of the Thief. And for now, we can use that rescue, the last one that Master Plan gave us. And we are going to go into Super Agent, so we can go into Charles with Roland and Super Agent, because he's a level 9. So after that, you got Charles on the field. He's ready to go. And all you have to do now is special summon Sleeper and just, use any 3 cards. You're going to put him on the field. And when you equip Last Resort, remember, do not activate Charles just yet. And that's pretty much your end board. So the only thing is we did burn through everything, but you do have the ability now to actually use Smoke Grenade of the Thief. We can't add a card to a deck because the only warrior I had was Dark Grepher outside of Super Agent. You can add Tough if that's kind of your thing. We're going to activate the effect of Charles now, and Charles is going to pull Smoke Grenade. And just like before, he's just going to destroy it and then look at your opponent's deck. Or your opponent's hand, I apologize. Alright, and just like that, we're able to look at it. So that's pretty much the strengths of the Infernoble Smoke Grenade variant. And that's pretty much the full combo. Alright, so this time around, I'm going to be going over the Halqdon variant and the Magician's Souls and Quik-Fix combo for it. Now, the cool thing about this particular variant is that you don't use as much material as you otherwise would in other variants. Dawn makes most of your material in the form of tokens, so it kind of becomes like a better suited for grind game, particularly because you end up saving a lot of your rescues in the graveyard for follow-up turns, etc. And another good thing about it is that if you're bricking, as long as you have a tutor and another monster, you can usually climb in to Dawn just through doing that. And so that's cool too. However, if you do like playing decks for their individuality, Halqdon variants kind of tend to be a little bit boring, especially because it's just kind of like every other deck out there that's abusing Dawn right now. So if you're not really into that, then, it's probably not for you. But the end board is still pretty powerful. It's able to run, at least in my variant, I'm able to run a Borderload Savage on my end board, as well as an Adamancipator Risen Dragite, a Herald of Arclight, Spiral Sleeper, and usually an Appaloosa with a Super Agent in the graveyard just waiting to be summoned on the opponent's turn for a spell trap pop. So that's really nice. And I always feel like even though you do have to run a situational brick in the form of O-Lion, and drawing into it kind of stinks, and milling it kind of stinks, it's by no means like the end of your combo. You can still kind of pick yourself up from it and leave at least like 1 or 2 negates on the field depending on what you've got in your hand. But either way, yeah, we're just going to go over this particular combo line. The beginning, the part where we're, you know, building our rescues, etc., and just resolving master plan on and off the field, that doesn't really change. The only part that changes, again, is the part where we start building board. So we're just going to open up with Magician's Souls here. We're going to do the usual, and we are going to send master plan to the graveyard as a cost. And we're just going to go ahead and put souls right here. We're going to activate the resort we have in hand, and we're going to search Quik-Fix. And once Quik-Fix is searched, we're just going to normal summon him right here. Quik-Fix is going to search us a Big Red from our deck. And once that's done, we're just going to activate Big Red, and we're going to special summon Master Plan. Okay, once Master Plan is summoned to the field, we're going to search a rescue from our deck for her, from her. And now we're going to send both Big Red and Rescue off of the effect of Magician's Souls. And again, if that effect is negated by your opponent, that's fine, because the cards that we wanted to have sent to the graveyard are already sent. We're going to link Magician's Souls into Link Karibo. This is particularly for you Sylvan Princess fight players, but it's still good to have Link Karibo in rotation if at all possible. We are going to link away Master Plan and Link Karibo. We're going to put Borg right here. And you're just going to chain link 1 Master Plan, as I mentioned previously, and then you're going to chain link 2 Barricade Board Blocker, and you can just send any card of your choice. In this case, I'm just going to send Nessie. Alright, we're going to let that resolve, and because I sent Nessie, it turns out that Nessie's going to activate. I'm just going to search Sleeper off of the effect of Resort this time around, and we're going to get another Spiral Resort. Nessie is going to proc in the graveyard, and she's just going to be like, what card do you want? I'm going to ask for a Jackalope. Okay, we're going to activate the second Spiral Resort, and we're just going to search Agent with that. Alright, now that that's set, we're able to get started. We're going to use that Spiral Mission Rescue in our graveyard, and we're going to special summon Master Plan to the field. Alright, this is going to enable Master Plan to let us search another Spiral Mission, and this time around I'm going to ask for a Spiral Mission Assault. And again, this is so we can get Drone onto the field and so we can have Helix resolve successfully. Okay, we're going to link away Quik-Fix and Master Plan, and we're going to put Double Helix right under Barricade Board Blocker. And after that, we're going to special summon Quik-Fix from the graveyard, and in doing so, he's going to send that Assault that we need, and he's going to special summon himself to the field, enabling us to search once more for a Spiral Gear. Alright, Quik-Fix is going to search. We're going to grab that drone. Now that we have that drone, we are going to Assault summon it, and we're going to put drone like right here. Remember to just make sure to leave that L space open right here. And we are going to activate drone. Drone is going to set the top 3 cards. We're just going to give him Magician's Rod as the top. We're going to overlay Quik-Fix and drone into Ghost Trick Dullahan just to be safe, just in case, you know, we get some kind of Nibiru coming in right here. Alright, and now that we know the top card is Magician's Rod, we're going to use Double Helix's effect, and we're going to call Monster. Now that it's a monster, we're going to special summon the second Master Plan from our deck. And this is, again, just so we have fodder for Sleeper, and just so we can have both of them in rotation. Alright, we are going to search another rescue. And now that we're done with that, we can detach Quik-Fix from Dullahan. We're going to just send to the graveyard. You can just target anything you want. Alright, Quik-Fix is going to special summon himself from the grave again. He's going to send that rescue that we just searched with Master Plan. And as I mentioned previously, as you can tell, Master Plan is the one that searches your missions, and then Quik-Fix is the one that primarily sends them, at least on turn 1. Alright, so Quik-Fix is going to search that last resort, and now that we've searched everything we need to search, we can start going into our board building. So we already have 3 darks in the field in the form of Barricade Board Blocker, Master Plan, and Dullahan. So we're going to go ahead and just go into Curious now. Alright, Curious is going to send us the Destrudo. We need to start our synchros. And we're just going to activate that now. We are going to send Destrudo, and hopefully whatever mills we get are pretty good. Alright, so we got a Terraforming, Jackalope, and Ash, nothing too crazy. We can now special summon Super Agent to the field. I'm going to call Monster just like before. We're going to special summon him. And we're going to use, we're going to make Appaloosa out of Super Agent and Curious. This is just to get Super Agent in the graveyard for the follow-up turn. Alright, Appaloosa is going to get on the field, and now that we have that, we can use Destrudo. We're going to target Quik-Fix. Alright, because Quik-Fix is a level 6 or lower monster, now we can go into Kriston Halq with Double Helix and Destrudo. Okay, now that that's done, we are going to special summon Jet Synchron. In this case, he was in our hand already, so we're just going to go put him right here. Now that we're done with that, we do have another rescue in the graveyard. We've burned through one, so we're in a good spot right now. We're going to use that Spiral Mission Rescue. We're going to special summon Master Plan to the field one more time. Alright, Master Plan is going to let us search our final rescue. And now that that's done, we can go into Boreload Savage with Jet Synchron and Master Plan. Excuse me, my throat. Alright. So this is kind of the part where it gets a little different. You just want to make sure that before you go into Dawn that you have 3 spots available. So in this case, we're pretty much ready to go into Dawn if you wanted to. You have the Quik-Fix and you have the halq. And these two are the materials that I use in particular to go into Dawn. And by doing so, you're going to have 3 spaces available for the 3 tokens. Just keep that in mind when you do this particular combo, that if you go into Dawn and you don't have 3 spaces available, Dawn just won't activate. So just be very conscious of that. And the best way to just remember, and that's kind of why I built it this way, is to make Savage first with Jet and Master Plan, and then you'll just remember not to special Jet one more time until you're done building everything with Dawn. So in this case, you have already a monster, 2 monster negates, and 1 omni negate to deal with anything that someone would be saving for Dawn if they waited this long. So at this point, you have like 2 lines of defense, and you're pretty much safe. You know, you can deal with Token Collector, you can deal with like any kind of like spell trap negate, like Imperm, for example. But you know, if someone does choose to waste it on Boreload Savage, like say an Imperm or something, before he gets like his link attached, you can, you know, at least still get 2 negates off of halq and Dawn, and then you have Appaloosa here to deal with like 2 monster negates. So you're kind of like doing pretty good. You know, so you're going to link away, like I said, Quik-Fix and halq, and you're going to go into Dawn. Alright, as soon as Dawn is linked, summoned, he's going to ask to make 3 tokens, so you're going to do just that. Alright. At this point, you know, if you've done any kind of Halqdon combo, it's pretty similar. You're just going to tribute out Rorodon, and you're going to tribute out 1 other token, and you're going to go into O-Lion. Alright, O-Lion is going to special summon itself to the field, and with 2 level 3 tokens and 1 level 2 token, you can go into 1 level 2 tuner, sorry, you can go into Dragite, which is your dedicated spell trap negate. As long as halq is in the graveyard, this thing is live, so that's pretty good. Alright, you're going to activate O-Lion's graveyard effect, and now that that token is there, you can actually special summon Jet with no repercussions, really. You're just going to send that last rescue that Master Plan gave you. Alright, and you're going to go into Herald of Arclight. Alright, now that Herald of Arclight is on the field, you're pretty much done. You can special summon Sleeper at the cost of any 3 cards you want. I like to do 2 Master Plan, 1 Big Red, although I've seen people argue otherwise. Alright, we're going to put Sleeper on the field, and we're going to equip Last Resort to him, and after that, you're pretty much set. Now, the only other thing you have to remember when playing a Halqdon list that has Herald of Arclight in it is that some hand traps are not going to work until Herald of Arclight leaves the field. So things like Max C and Effect Veiler, Ghost Ogre, things that depend on going to the graveyard in order to resolve are not going to be live while Herald of Arclight is on the field. So just keep that in mind. Things like Ash Blossom and Ghost Bell do still work though, so that's nice. But let's say in this case, like where I have a Max C already in my hand, remember that you just won't be able to use it until Herald of Arclight leaves the field. Alright, but that's pretty much it for the Magician Souls and Quik-Fix combo on the Halqdon variant. Alright, so this is going to be the demo for the Drone, Agent, and Third Body combo, and this is going to be for the Halqdon variants. So the only difference for this one compared to the other combo lines that I've done for Halqdon variants is that, you know how normally we like to go into Borreload Savage and Appaloosa before going into Dawn? In this one, it's just not possible because you're either going to have way too much stuff on the field and you won't be able to go into Dawn because you just overloaded your field, or you're just going to not be able to get like everything you need on the field at the same time to resolve that in that order. So the only different thing with this one is we're just going to be having only Appaloosa on the field when we go into Dawn, but you still end up with basically everything. There is a chance that you may or may not have a rescue at the end. I really don't remember, so we're just going to go ahead and see this through to the end, and then I guess I'll just let you know. But in this case, you know, we have 2 searches, so that's almost always a Drone Agent combo. We're going to start with the terraforming here, and we're just going to search one of our resorts. With the first resort, we're going to search Drone, and with the second resort, we're going to search Agent. So in this case, here's the Drone, and with the second resort, here's the Agent. Okay, so now that we have both of those, let's just start it. We're going to start by normal summoning Drone, and he's going to set the top 3 cards, as we know, and we're just going to give him the trap first. We're going to special summon Super Agent now that we know the top card, and we're going to put him right next to Drone here. Now we can go turbo into Double Helix. And just like the other combo, like doesn't matter what variation you play, this is still kind of a weak combo unless your opponent has absolutely no interruption. Double Helix is going to call Trap, and now that he gets that correctly, we're going to special summon Master Plan of the field. And in this case, we already started with Assault, so there's no need to search it, just as long as you make sure to get that in the grave by the time Master Plan is off the field. In this case, we are going to just search a Rescue, since that's all we can search really. We only have 1 Assault in our deck. And we're going to special summon Jackalope, hopefully, and Jackalope sends that Rescue, which is nice. Alright, we drew into a Destrudo, which is nice because now we just don't have to Curious for it. But I'll go over that anyway when we get there. Alright, Jackalope and Master Plan are going to link into Barricade Board Blocker. And we're going to chain link 1 Master Plan, and we're going to chain link 2 Borg. We're going to send that Assault. And now that pretty much means we can special summon Quik really soon. Alright, so with that being said, we're going to search Quik with Master Plan, and with the third resort, we're going to search Sleeper. Alright, so now that that's done, we're going to activate that. We are going to add Sleeper to our hand. No, we're not special summoning him yet. And we're going to Assault Summon Quik-Fix. Alright, once we Assault Summon Quik-Fix, he's going to search that big red that we need. Alright, and now that that big red is in our hand, we are going to activate it, and we're going to special summon Master Plan from the graveyard. This is going to allow Master Plan to give us another mission. In this case, it's just going to be a rescue mission. Alright, and we're going to link away Quik-Fix. We're going to turn him into a Link Karibo, and we're going to put him right here next to Barricade Board Blocker, where the link points to. Alright, and we're going to special summon Quik-Fix again, and we're going to do that just to send that SPYRAL mission, and also so we can search our last resort. Alright, Quik-Fix is going to activate, and there it is. And so, if it wasn't for the fact that we already have Destrudo, I would just link Barricade Board Blocker, Link Karibo, and Master Plan. But since we're not, what we're going to do is we're just going to turn it into an early Appaloosa. Okay, and so it kind of defeats the purpose of what I wanted to show you, because I wanted to show that we actually can't normally go into into Borreload Savage early, but since in this case we skipped the Curious step, it's very likely we can actually just go right into it. Alright, so we're going to special summon Master Plan, and we're going to get a rescue here. I believe this is the last one, and now we're going to go into Halq with Destrudo and Double Helix. Alright, now that Halqdon Halq is on the field, we are going to special summon Jet Synchron. So, you know, if you do happen to Small World or draw into Destrudo, you are able to pretty much go into this early. Okay. Now that Borreload Savage Dragon is on the field, we're going to activate its effect, and we are going to add a blocker because we actually didn't build Curious this time around. And so the cool thing is now you can free up Halqdon Halq and Quik-Fix, and we're going to go into Dawn. And because we put Dawn in the extra monster zone, make sure to do that, you have the 3 free slots down here. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and do that. We are going to put all our tokens down here, and just as usual, we're going to tribute out Dawn, and we're going to tribute out 1 other token to special summon Olion from the deck. Alright, and now that that's done, you can special summon Dragite. Okay, and now that that's done, Olion activates in the graveyard, and he's going to give you another token. And now you can special summon Jet Synchron, and then send that rescue. Once you send that rescue, you're pretty much ready to go into Arclight at this point. Alright, there you go, and Sleeper's ready to go. You have a spot for him to put right here, and you can banish 3 cards, and you're pretty much set after that. Alright. And so we did get kind of lucky with that particular combo. We did draw into Destrudo, saved us a lot of work, and it got us into a 3-mat Appaloosa. But yes, this will happen. This is kind of why I also mentioned that it's a little hard to do tutorials for this, because while a lot of it is linear, sometimes things just happen. I can't guarantee you like the same combo line every time, but in this case, yeah, this is a pretty good ending to it. Alright, this time around, I'm going to be going over a combo demo for a Halqdon list for Grepher Nessie. So in this case, we do have a reinforcement of the army, and we do have a Danger Nessie, so we pretty much got everything we need. We do have a Small World also, just in case, you know, but for now, we can just start with the Rhoda. And if this, for whatever reason, just didn't resolve because your opponent ashes it, you could probably Small World using Nessie to go into a Magician Souls, and then you would have a secondary full combo line in the form of Magician Souls and Rescue. So again, Small World is an amazing card in this deck. But again, we're just going to be going over Grepher Nessie, so we're just going to start with that. As we know, we're going to start with special summoning Grepher, and we're going to use Nessie as a discard for cost. This is going to proc Nessie in the graveyard, and Nessie is going to search Jackalope. Just like before, Grepher is going to discard Jackalope, and by doing so, he can also send another card to the graveyard. So we're going to send that Master Plan, and Jackalope's going to go off in the graveyard, which is going to allow us to special summon Mothman. And now that we do have the 2 level 4s, we're going to go into Dugares, which is going to allow us to bring back Master Plan, and this is going to be essentially for free. As in, not using any card in our deck. But we do have to put everything in attack, just like I mentioned before. And when we do so, when we do detach these 2 cards, we're going to special summon Master Plan. Master Plan is going to search us any other card. We already do have a rescue. At this point, I guess I'll just search an Assault. But just when it does come to actually block chaining Master Plan, we're going to go ahead and chain link 1 Master Plan, chain link 2 Barricade Ward Blocker, and we're going to send that rescue. We haven't used our normal summon yet, so Assault in the graveyard is not a huge priority yet. Okay, we're going to search Quick, and we're going to search Sleeper with the remaining Resort. Although at this point, I suppose you could search either Super Agent or Sleeper, since the other one's going to be searched off the effect of Double Helix. Since I have done a Super Agent search in the past tutorial for Grepher Nessie, this time around I'm going to search Agent. And in this case, like I said before, it really just depends on what your matchup is. If you feel your opponent has a hand trap, if you feel that they have Nibiru and you have, you know, decent extension, search Super Agent. Otherwise, just search Sleeper, because if you do get nibbed and there's no way to come back from it, then in that case you can just, you know, banish 3, and then Sleeper can hopefully hold you over until the following turn. Alright, but for now we're just going to link into double helix after Master Plan search the rescue and everything. And we're going to special summon Quik from the graveyard, and this time make sure to send the Assault. Alright, now that Assault is in the graveyard, we're going to have Quik search for Drone. And once Drone is in our hand, we're going to Assault summon it. Alright, once it's Assault summoned, we are going to put it right here. And we're going to set the top 3 cards. We're just going to go take a peek. And let's just start them on Dark Magical Circle. We're going to go Spell, Spell, Monster. We're going to overlay into Ghost Trick Dullahan. Okie dokie. And now we are going to set the top, or call the top card. We know it's a spell already, so let's just go ahead and add Sleeper to our hand. And remember that as long as you have a rescue and a master plan in the graveyard, when you do this, you can search for Super Agent or Sleeper with no real detriment. So in this case, it also means, as I mentioned before, that if someone gammas you or ashes you at this point, it's also at no harm to you because you have recourse here in the graveyard. Okay, so we're going to detach Quik-Fix. Quik-Fix is going to just special summon himself in the graveyard one more time. And since we already have Last Resort and we already searched Drone and everything, I don't think there's another search for him in our deck. We're going to special summon Master Plan of the field now. And now that she's on the field, if she has any search for us, we'll go ahead and grab a card from her. And now we're just going to go into Curious. You could also go into Small World at this point, but since there's nothing I really want to let go of, we can just go into Curious right now, and we're going to use Dullahan, Master Plan, and Borg. And since he's not in our graveyard at the moment, we're just going to send it with the effect of Curious. Alright, we're going to search Destrudo here, and we're going to send him, and we're just going to see what other 3 cards are sent off of its effect. Alright, we just got a bunch of dangers and an Ash sent, so that's pretty much fine. Okay, let's go ahead and special summon Super Agent, and we are going to call Spell since that's what we put on the top. Alright, and now we're going to special summon Destrudo. And I kind of misplayed there a little bit. I always do like to go into Appaloosa, at least before special summoning Destrudo. This is just, for precaution, in case you're a little paranoid like me. You just go ahead and have some kind of monster negate before you special summon, the 4000 burn monster. Alright, so now we're just going to go into Halq, and we're going to use Super Agent Double Helix and Destrudo. It's going to go into Halq. Alright, Halq is going to special summon Jet. Alright, and we do have another rescue in the graveyard, so we can go ahead and go right into Master Plan right now and go into Borload Savage with these 2. Alright, Master Plan is going to special summon herself to the field. And now we're going to put Savage right over here. And remember, because this is a Dugares combo, you want to make sure to have everything in attack because your main phase 1 gets skipped. So you're going to end up skipping straight to the battle phase. And you want to make sure to go for game. So there's going to be your Borload Savage. We can go into Dawn now. And we're going to use Quik-Fix and Kriston Halq. We're going to put Auroradon here in the far end, and we're going to special summon all those tokens. Okay. Okay, and so now once these tokens are here, we're just going to tribute out Auroradon, and we're going to tribute out one other token. And we're going to special summon O-Lion. Okay, once O-Lion's on the field, we're going to special summon Dragite, and we're going to put it right over here. And that's going to proc O-Lion's effect in the graveyard. O-Lion is going to leave you a little token. And then you're going to use Jet Synchron. You're going to send that last remaining SPYRAL mission, and you are going to Synchro summon into Herald of Arclight. And Herald of Arclight is probably the only monster that I don't put in attack, even in Dugares combo, because it only has an attack of 600. And, while Sleeper does protect her Herald of Arclight from anything like getting busted or whatever, 600 typically does not make a gigantic difference, and at some point in your opponent's turn you're going to special summon Super Agent anyway, which is probably going to be an attack, and that alone is probably going to get you to go for game. So don't worry about it too much, at least with Arclight, unless you really do want to put him in attack. But in Dugares combo, I found that, as long as you put your big beaters and Sleeper in attack, that is normally more than enough. Alright. And so with this end board, you still end with pretty much that one rescue in the graveyard, and you still have that super agent, so it's all good. Alright, so now we're going to start going over a lot of like non-linear hands that when you look at them they don't look like they actually have combo in them, and you're going to find this is pretty common, at least in any variant of Spiral that you play, but in the Danger variant in particular you have some control over how your hand can change. In this particular instance, you know, we have a lot of different starters, but we don't know how they're all going to mesh together just yet. And as far as I can already see kind of like the beginning of a combo. There's some ways you can go about this. You can either special summon Magician Souls to the field and send these two spells and see what you get, but that is pretty prone to negation, so who knows at this point. You could go Reinforcement of the Army, you could search Dark Grepher, and you can go into a line where you send Master Plan and send Souls, and it's kind of like high risk, high reward. But at this point, we're just going to go ahead and just try everything we got. Right now, when I start with Rhoda, I always like to start with searching Dark Grepher, just because it's a great way to either bait an Ash, if at all possible, or see if someone has any. And with you having Called by the Grave here as well, it's usually a pretty good sign that you can deal with almost anything they throw at you. So in this case, with Dark Grepher, I already know I have Master Plan, and that's going to be a free special summon for him. And whether or not you want to send Magician Souls at this point, and then after that see if you can send Destrudo, is up to you. But at this point, I feel that, like, if I were to go into a full Dugares combo, all I need is 2 level 4s, and I already have Dark Grepher on the field. In this case, I could also special summon Super Agent, and at this point, you know, it doesn't hurt to call the card, because we don't know, like, where we're going to go in our combo at this point. So let's just go ahead and see if he can guess the card correctly. We're going to guess Monster, and it turned out to be a monster. So in this case, you already know that with 2 level 4s on the field, neither of which you have actually normal summoned, you can go into a full Dugares combo. And in this particular list that I'm running, I'm actually running a Halqdon list, so this alone is already more than enough gas to actually go into my board. So in this case, if I wanted to be even greedier, or if I wanted to bait an Imperm or negate, I would just go ahead and send this Magician Souls, because now that I have this full combo line, I'm really not going to need it anymore. You can send this Souls, and then if you want to save even more material, you can go ahead and send Destrudo off of that as well. So not only do we have Master Plan in the grave, but we also have a Destrudo, so we don't even have to go into Curious, as mentioned in all our previous combo lines. We can just go ahead and climb by overlaying these two, and we're just going to go into Dugares. And again, we're just going to have to remember to put everything in attack on our end board. We're going to go ahead and skip our main phase 1 by special summoning Master Plan of the field. And since we put her there earlier off of the effect of Dark Grepher, she's pretty much already there. We're going to go ahead and search that rescue, and already, as you can see, you have full combo. It's going to be just like before and all the other combo lines that we've seen. When you have Dugares, you know, you don't always have to do Grepher Nessie. As long as you have 2 level 4s on the field, Dugares is pretty much on. And that's why I personally don't like to cut it from any of my lists, because if I'm bricking, I want to make sure I at least have some kind of combo line in the rare case that I have just 2 level 4s, because it's devastating. I've tried cutting it before, and there's times that I'm just like, man, I wish I had Dugares. This would have been combo if I had Dugares, you know? So at least with Spiral, I always like to go with as much gas as possible, with as many combo lines as possible as well, so I'm less likely to brick. And you know, if you've watched any of the other combo tutorials that I've done up until this point, you're going to know that at this point, Master Plan is just going to search the Assault and so on and so forth. But what you're also going to notice throughout this part of the combo is that I'm not going to go into Curious, so all the materials that I would have otherwise used are going to wind up being used for a fat Appaloosa. And that's something that also is usually limited to normally Danger lists. While you can do that on Pure, it's a lot less common. So we're just going to go ahead and do the usual. We're going to grab Quick, we're going to search Drone with it, and then we're just going to assault it. And since we already have a Super Agent in the grave, you don't have to worry about introducing him into the combo line anymore. We used him as a Dugares mat, and all of it is in the graveyard now. Alright, and we already know that we started with Dark Magician, but it's also nice to just kind of have that way to like cycle Quik-Fix again. In this case, I have nothing against the way the cards are already set, so I'm just going to leave them the same. Alright, and at this point we can just go ahead and loot Master Plan one more time because we know the top card is Dark Magician. Heck, we even confirmed it was at this point. Alright, and yeah, another reason I went into Duel is also because you end up getting another material. So you end up kind of like cheating into another material this way, because you're going to guarantee that Quik-Fix is going to special summon himself again, and you already have another body. So it's a lot kind of like when you cheat material with Link Haribo, you already have Link Haribo, and then you get Quick, so that's 2 materials. Quik-Fix himself can be 2 materials, and that's why he's limited to 1 at times. Alright, so now that we already have Destrudo in Graveyard, again, we don't have to go into Curious for it anymore. So at this point, you can just go straight into Appaloosa, and then just go straight into Halq. So what you would do here is just make a 3-mat Appaloosa, right, and then you would just special Destrudo here, and the rest of it is largely the same. So definitely when playing SPYRAL, I feel like if you're inexperienced, you're going to look at a lot of your hands and you're going to be like, well, where's this going to go? Like, I don't have combo with this. But definitely, like, the more you play it, the more you're going to look at these hands and the more you're going to be like, oh, this can go into something that has potential, so on and so forth. It really depends both on your luck and just what you're able to get away with, too. And it's really good in particular because your opponents sometimes will just be used to seeing the very linear combo lines, and sometimes they won't know what the heck you're doing. And this is really good going second because sometimes they're going to know what your combo starters are, and they're going to negate them right away. But if they don't actually know what you're doing, and you have like a backup combo line in your hand, then, you know, you're Gucci, and they're going to just play right into your trap. When you special summon Quick, for example, and you already have full combo in your hand already. Alright, so in this case, you know, being the Halqdon list, we're just going to do the usual. We're going to make the 3 tokens, and we're just going to special summon O-Lion. And see, like, that's just straight up full combo. You already have literally everything you need, and you have a lot of recourse in the grave. You already have 1 rescue, and you're going to have another one that we haven't even added into the grave yet. So this deck has a lot of power if you just look for it. And of course there are times you will brick very hard, but in most cases I found that I am consistent. So that's the thing. Alright, again, I like putting my Herald of Arclight in defense regardless of whether it's a Dugares combo or not. So we're just going to put that like that. And there you go, you got full combo. And you also have a Called by the Grave that in this case I didn't use, fortunately. So that's going to be another form of interaction. And you also have the 2 rescues. So not only can you MST on your opponent's turn, but you can also continue comboing, let's say, if your board gets absolutely destroyed. Alright, so usually when you're playing Danger SPYRAL, you're going to run into hands like this a lot. And these hands are definitely, like, Lord knows what you're going to end up drawing into, or if you're going to have full combo by this point. But the nice thing about danger hands as opposed to pure hands is that when you look at them, you know for a fact that at least you're going to start off with a lot of material. And by having that material, you can hopefully go into a combo line that can get you into your plays. So in this particular situation, we have a Jackalope and a Mothman. We have 2 hand traps, and we have a Spiral Mission Rescue, which can hopefully get us into a play if we draw well. So in this case, I would definitely activate the Mothman first. This is kind of just a danger rule in general. I tend to like activating danger that I wouldn't want resolving in the graveyard. So normally, let's say this was like Jackalope and Nessie, I would probably pick Jackalope because I actually would rather have Nessie resolve in the graveyard and give me a second chance at using a danger that Nessie would have searched for me. But in this case, it's quite the opposite. I don't want to give my opponent another card. I don't want to have a Dark Worlds dealing situation with them. So I'm going to special summon, hopefully, Danger Mothman. And so when Mothman activates, he's going to pitch a card. He winds up pitching himself, which is wildly unlucky, but it is the nature of danger decks in general. Sometimes they just do things you don't want them to do. And Mothman is going to draw us into a card, and then he's going to ask us to discard a card. And in this case, he drew us into a combo starter. He drew us into 1-for-1, which is quite possibly one of the best starters of all time. And we can discard 1 card of our choice. So looking at this, I would love to actually discard Rescue, because if we have Rescue in the graveyard, that's one situation where I don't have to send that myself. And if I were to 1-for-1 Psyframe Gear Gamma, I could go into full combo just like earlier in the previous 1-for-1 combo, and probably be able to send Jackalope off of the effect of Barricade Borg, which would then allow me to get another body on the field. So this is definitely a pretty good draw, and hopefully, assuming your opponent didn't draw into a hand trap, you've got like a crazy hand already just off of one draw. So in this case, like I said, I'm going to send that Rescue. My opponent is going to send a Soul Servant. That's fine. We're going to go ahead and send that Gamma. And you know, if our opponent did have an Ash or whatever, they would have probably ashed us at some point. We would have had it called by the grave. So you know, we're in a pretty good spot. We are going to special summon Quik to the field. Alright, and with Quik, we're going to search Drone. There it is. And then once Drone is on the field, once we normal summon him, we're going to just use his effect to tell the top 3 cards of our opponent's deck. And at this point, let's just go ahead and do Monster spell. Alright, we're going to go straight into Helix. And at this point, if you haven't noticed, it looks a lot like the Drone and Agent combo, where we ended up turboing into Helix, and then we end up making Borg below Helix. In this case, we end up calling Monster, and since it's correct, we're going to special summon Master Plan of the field. Alright, Master Plan is going to search us a SPYRAL mission, and since this was a 1-for-1 combo, it turns out that we actually don't have to use Assault necessarily just yet, because we already normal summoned or special summoned everything that we want to. So Drone was already normal summoned, and Quik-Fix was already introduced off a special summon. So we can go ahead and search a Rescue this time. And in this case also, you can use Quik-Fix in the graveyard. Quik-Fix is going to send that SPYRAL mission Rescue that we just drew, or he can use that Jackalope that we just drew. And by doing so, he can activate Jackalope's effect, because unlike Jet Synchron's, Quik-Fix effect is actually a discard effect. So for the sake of demonstration, I'm going to do Jackalope this time. And because Quik-Fix hasn't technically introduced Big Red into the equation yet, and we haven't used any form of revival, it technically breaks even if we end up chaining SPYRAL Mission Rescue to Quik-Fix. This will make it so we can use him as a material, and in addition, he won't end up getting banished on his follow-up, like leaving the field. And this is because when you chain link to SPYRAL Mission Rescue, what happens is that Quik-Fix is summoned off of the effect of Rescue and not off the effect of himself. So that's a nice little workaround if you don't want Quik-Fix to get banished. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and put Quik-Fix right here. And remember, keeping the L shape open, we're going to special summon whatever Jackalope chooses to special summon over here at the end. And so the cool thing is you can also chain block now that you ended up proccing Jackalope and Quik-Fix at the same time. And so let's say you wanted to chain block Quik-Fix's search effect to save him from an Ash, for example. You could go Quik-Fix chainlink 1, Jackalope chainlink 2, or if you just don't want to get your Jackalope effect negated or ashed, you do the opposite. You chainlink 1 Jackalope, you chainlink 2 Quik-Fix. So in this case, we're going to chainlink 1 Quik-Fix, and we're going to chainlink 2 Jackalope. Alright, and this is going to make it so Jackalope resolves first. He's going to special summon anything he wants to the field, and since I want to save on a level 7 later on in the game, I'm going to search a Danger Nessie. This is just so I don't have to bring back Master Plan again for, say, making a Boarload Savage. Alright, so now that Nessie's on the field, Quik-Fix is going to resolve. Since he was chainlink 1, he's going to search us that Big Red. And now you can actually use Quik-Fix and Master Plan as material for Barricade Board Blocker, or you could use Danger Nessie and Master Plan for Barricade Board Blocker. But in this case, I'm going to choose to use Quik-Fix, because we want him to keep looping these rescues back and forth, so I want him off the field. Alright, we're going to go into Barricade Board Blocker, and now we're going to chainlink 1 Master Plan, again with the chain links, and we're going to chainlink 2 Barricade Board Blocker, because Master Plan resolving is non-negotiable. We want that to go off. So we're going to go ahead and send that SPYRAL Mission Rescue. Alright, and now that that's all said and done, we're going to search Sleeper, and we're going to search Super Agent, and we're going to search them off of basically everything Master Plan has given us. Alright, now that we have SPYRAL Resort on the field, we're going to special summon, search Sleeper Agent, and I believe this is my Infernal list with smoke, so we're going to just go ahead and keep that in mind moving forward. Alright, now we're going to use Big Red to special summon Master Plan of the field, and now that Master Plan's on the field, she's going to go ahead and search another Spiral mission, and since we already like I said earlier, we already used every normal summon on what we wanted to. Assault is not really a priority right now. So we're going to special summon Quik here, and we're going to send that rescue to the graveyard. So already we're in a pretty good spot. We got 2 rescues, and we haven't even really started doing anything, which is really nice. And at this point, once more, you can choose to either use Nessie, Master Plan, and Barricade Board Blocker as your 3 Darks for Curious, or you can use Quik-Fix if you just link them away into Link Haribo. And in this case, I'm going to use Quik-Fix because, again, I want to save on the rescues by using Nessie. Alright, and now what we're going to do is we're going to send Master Plan, Link Haribo, and Barricade Board Blocker. And I'm going to send Master Plan because just like before, I do want to go and have Master Plan go for another loop, but I just don't want to revive her again to go into the Synchros. Alright, so we're going to use Curious now. We're going to send 3, and off of that effect, hopefully we send something pretty good. Alright, we ended up milling a Psyframe, an Ash, and a Nessie, so nothing too crazy really. Alright, we can go ahead and special summon Super Agent now, and we're going to call Monster, I believe. Yep, and once that's correct, we're just going to go straight into Appaloosa. And we're going to go ahead and do that off of Curious, and we're going to do that off of, let's just go ahead and finally use Nessie. Alright. Now that Appaloosa is on the field, we're going to activate Destrudo's effect because we needed a level 6 or lower monster. Alright, and now we're going to go into Crystal Halq. So at this point, see the rest of the combo is pretty much exactly the same. Alright, Crystal Halq is going to search out Jet, and we already have Super Agent on the field, so we do have to use a rescue on Master Plan this time because we used Nessie for Appaloosa. Alright, and now that Master Plan is going to activate, she's going to give us an Assault. Alright, and now Savage can be built off of Jet Synchron and Master Plan. Okay. And then Savage is going to activating his attachment. He's going to have an equip. And now Jet Synchron is eligible to go on the field, and it's going to be off of sending Spiral Mission Assault. Alright. And at this point, we're just going to go straight into Roland. Alright, Roland is going to activate, which is fine. We're going to use our last rescue here, and we're going to use it on Super Agent. Additionally, because we did have that extra assault in the graveyard, another thing you could have done actually is you could have banished Drone with one other card, added Super Agent back to your hand, and actually use that assault to go straight into special summoning Super Agent without actually using that rescue. So that's something I overlooked, but it is a choice you can make, especially since you have that free assault available. You can just still have an additional form of interaction by special summoning Super Agent on the opponent's turn. So that was a little misplay of mine. Alright, that being said, now we can just go ahead and special summon Charles onto the field, and then, you know, Sleeper just banishes any 3 of your choice and special summons himself to the field. So already, there you go. That's pretty much a combo straight off of 1-for-1 and just danger draws. So there are times that dangers do that, and that's the value of playing them in your deck. Alright, so for this next test hand, it does have a lot of potential here. The cool thing is we do have one danger to kind of get things moving, and we have a Magician's Souls as well that we can special summon, and if for whatever reason Nessie draws us into a Spiral mission, we can potentially have combo because Magician's Souls can send it to us, and not only can it send that card to the graveyard and draw us one card, but it can actually start a full combo line depending on what we end up drawing. So in this case, like I mentioned countless times before, I don't actually know what we're going to end up with because the thing about danger hands is it just depends on what you draw here. So we're going to start by special summoning Magician Souls. I do want this on the field, again, just in case we draw into any spell traps that can be sent to the graveyard. And since we have one master plan in our hand, we're going to end up sending the other one from the deck to the graveyard. And just like that, we're going to put him here on the side. And the cool thing is we also do have Destrudo, so if he is pitched, we are able to use him from the graveyard or from the hand. Either way, he's still live as long as we have a level 6 or lower monster. So let's just go ahead and try our chances here with Nessie. Nessie pitches itself, which is not the greatest thing, but at the very least, Nessie's going to give us another danger that we can kind of try our hand at again. So now that we special summon, hopefully Danger Jackalope. Jackalope sends Jet Synchron, nothing too horrible here. Let's see what we draw into. We draw into a Spiral Mission Assault. So actually, just like I was saying earlier, if we do draw into a Spiral Mission, we can actually go into full combo, regardless of what it is, because if we drew into a rescue, Magician Souls and Jackalope could send Master Plan, and of course this would be after having Magician Souls send that rescue. In this case, we drew Assault, which is perfect because we actually have a Master Plan in our hand that we can special summon off of the effect of Assault. Not only that, but we can +1 if our opponent doesn't negate this, and draw one card in exchange for the one card that we sent to the graveyard. So in this case, we're going to send that Assault, and we draw into Small World, which is amazing actually, but right now I'm gonna save it because I really just want that Master Plan on the field. So right now what we're gonna do is we're going to activate the Assault that we just sent, and we're gonna special summon Master Plan to the field, the one that is in our hand. So now, one thing you do have to remember is that if for whatever reason you end up using Assault early before you can use it on Drone or what have you, you're gonna have to actually get Super Agent in order to guess the top card, since Drone probably won't be able to be normal summoned. But actually in this case what we can do is we can deviate slightly from the usual way we do things, and because we already have Master Plan introduced and we haven't actually had a normal summon yet, we can actually go Drone Agent into this combo and still do just fine because Double Helix can special summon Quik. So right now I know it sounds like a lot, but I'll show you moving forward here. We're going to have Master Plan Search or Rescue, and just keep in mind that we already used Assault on Master Plan here. We still don't know the top card, so that's why we're going to rely on Drone and Agent to get this combo going for us. Alright, so Link Karibo is on the scene now, and we're going to go ahead and make Barricade Board blockers, we always do, and we're going to use Master Plan as usual, so we can get that graveyard effect going. So right now we have Chain Link 1 Master Plan again, and then Chain Link 2 Barricade Board blocker, and we're going to send that Spiral Mission Rescue. Alright, so the cool thing about this line is that it could have gone any matter of ways. You could have searched Quik-Fix, you could have wound up searching Drone Agent for this combo. Heck, I think we could have actually just gone into a Synchro Praise early. There's like a lot we could have done with this line. So definitely, like, the possibilities are endless when you start like this specifically. So in this case, because we do want Drone and Agent, we could grab these two, have Super Agent special summon after we do the Drone Agent search. But something I did realize here is that if we do that, and we're going to have Quicks be special summoned off of the effect of Double Helix. And if we do that, we're not going to be able to get Sleeper into our rotation unless we Small World search him. And right now, I think it's better if we just kind of play it safe here. And we're just going to go ahead and search Quik-Fix. So now the only thing that changes here though, as I mentioned earlier, is that if you do choose to go with this combo line, because we already used Assault on Master Plan, there's no way for us to really get Drone on the field because we already did that, unless we kind of go through some convoluted process of dumping him and then rescuing him back. But right now, we don't have to do that. We're just going to go ahead and have Super Agent figure the card out for us. And in some lines, you can do this, especially if, for whatever the reason, Drone is out of commission like this. You just have to do this and kind of risk Super Agent not resolving and getting on the field. But what's more important really is getting Double Helix to resolve. So right now we're going to normal summon Quik. And Quik is going to search us a Big Red, as usual. Big Red is going to special summon Master Plan. And since we have two in the graveyard, we're just going to pick any one of them. Master Plan is going to search us another rescue. And in this case, we are going to go straight into Helix with these two. And because we did save this L-shaped spot here, we have no problem with our link spots. Alright, and in this case, this is when you take Super Agent and you're going to guess the card. So we actually don't know what it is, but the thing is, when you guess the card, it reveals it. So that means Double Helix can actually guess it correctly or call it correctly because you already saw it. And unless your opponent shuffles the deck at this point, this is probably the best way to do it. So we're going to call Monster. And it happened to be Monster, so lucky us, we get a free special summon. And now Double Helix is going to call Monster because of course that's what it was. Alright, and since we were missing a Sleeper search, we're going to grab Sleeper right now. And a thing I mentioned previously is that if you do have a Rescue in the graveyard and a Master Plan, or if you have Master Plan in the graveyard and any form of revival in your hand, like a Big Red or a Monster Reborn, you can risk using Double Helix for a search because you have a way to kind of keep comboing in your graveyard. And so not only do we have that, but we also have a Spiral Mission Rescue in our hand, so we're in a really good spot. If someone gammaed your Double Helix at this point, honestly the only thing we'd be short of is a Sleeper, so that's definitely good. We're going to search Sleeper and we're going to add him to our hand here. And this is a Locust list, I think. Yeah, this is my Locust list, so we're going to just go ahead and keep that in mind moving forward. Quik-Fix is going to special summon himself, and we are going to send that Spiral Mission Rescue in our hand to the graveyard. Alright, and he's going to search us the last resort that Spiral Sleeper needs to safely summon himself to the field. Alright, and so the cool thing is here also, we already had Distribute on our opening hand, so we don't even have to really go through the whole Curious shenanigans, which is great. We can go ahead and just go straight into Appaloosa. And so in this case, we're going to go ahead and just use Barricade Board Blocker, Jackalope, and we're going to use Quik-Fix in this case as well, since we no longer need him. Alright, Appaloosa is going to hit the field, 2400 attack. And now we can go ahead and special summon Destrudo, and since we have a level 6 or lower monster in the form of Super Agent, that's going to be no problem at all. Alright. And the cool thing about the Locust list is that, okay, if you already have Jet Synchron in the grave, you can do one of two things. You can either special summon Valor if you have it in this deck, or you can special summon Ash Blossom. So if you want to just special summon Valor and just end up with a Borreload Savage and then just use Jet Synchron as a mat for IP Masquerena, that's fine. Or if you're feeling kind of lucky, you can go ahead and use Ash Blossom, and then Ash Blossom and Master Plan can get you in a Baron turn 1. So I'm going to just demonstrate that here since I don't think I've done it in any of these other combo lines. We're going to go ahead and special summon Ash Blossom to the field, and Master Plan with Ash Blossom is going to go into Baron. And so the cool thing is here also, we did have a Super Agent on the field, so you could have just left him here and waited for the next turn to go into Baron. It really just depends. If I find that the deck I'm going up against is probably going to have a Droplet, I'd rather just save the Baron for after they use the Droplet and just kind of surprise them with a Halq spin into Desert Locust and then going into Baron. But in this case, just for demonstration, I'm just going to go ahead and go into an early Baron. Right. Okay, and Baron hit the field. Now we can go ahead and use Jet Synchron to send this rescue. And there are times when you do this Baron early on your Locust Locust variants, that if you want, you can also set this rescue, and then Baron de Fleur can just destroy it off of its own effect, and that's also a cool way to get it in the graveyard. It does kind of come in clutch sometimes when you play this variant, but in this case, because we do have Jet in the graveyard, we are fine. So we're just have Jet do it for us. We're going to send the Spiral Mission Rescue, and you also have a Master Plan you can pull with that other Spiral Mission. Okay, and once the Master Plan hits the field, we can go right into Borreload Savage. So that's cool. When you do have situations like this, you can just go straight into 2 Omnis on turn 1. Alright, and once Borreload Savage hits the field, just make sure to add whatever Link monster you choose. I like to do Savage usually, just in case. And you have an extra rescue in the graveyard, And with that and Super Agent, since you're not using Super Agent for Baron anymore, you can just go straight into IP. So in this case, let's just go ahead and pick Master Plan again, since IP can only take 2 non-link monsters as material. Alright, and just like that, you got IP. And so you can use IP and halq, the halq that you're not really going to use anymore, to go into Unicorn if you choose to, or you can have halq just go ahead and tag out into Locust just so you can -1 your opponent, but with a discard. It's really up to you. Either way, you have a map for halq, and then right there with Sleeper, you're just going to go ahead and special summon him, and already you have a pretty correct turn 1 board, and you have a small world that we haven't even used yet. So again, that kind of speaks to how cool dangers are in this deck if they do get going. And you know, the only thing that you ended up missing out on is just a rescue. So we can't get Super Agent out on the field again, but already this is pretty good and can deal with almost most things unless people really just have board breakers going second. Alright, so for our final test hand, we have a hand here that's kind of danger heavy. We got a lot of darks, and we got a Super Agent sitting here. And this is pretty common actually, as far as my hands usually go. And what's going to happen is, best case scenario, we're going to draw into a starter that's going to let us go into full SPYRAL combo. And worst case scenario, we brick. But somewhere down the middle, we could go into a curious combo if we get 3 darks on the field of different type. And so we're just going to have to find out at this point, but we're going to start by special summoning Super Agent, hopefully. If we call the top card correctly, we can at least get him on the field for free. And that's not the case this time, sadly, but we know it now that we know now that at least it's a spell, so later on, if we have to go into double helix off of anything else, we can at least know what the top card is. Alright, so in this case, let's just go ahead and activate Jackalope, because if Nessie gets pitched, as it was in this situation, we can at least search another danger. Alright, so Nessie is going to search us another card, and let's just go ahead and add Tsuchinoko this time. And keep in mind that if we want 3 different darks, obviously search out 3 different types of dangers, so you can go into Curious and be able to fulfill its requirements, right? So let's just go ahead and activate Tsuchinoko. Tsuchinoko is going to pitch Destrudo, which is okay because Destrudo activates itself in hand or grave. Alright, and we're going to end up drawing a Called by the Grave. So this is kind of one of those situations where you may have to go into a Curious combo, and unfortunately we're going to have to do it off of Destrudo as our third. So what you're going to do is you're going to special summon Destrudo to the field, and we are going to put it right here. And technically speaking, you could also go into Dugares and draw 2, but that's really kind of risky. Let's just go ahead and search Master Plan or a Rescue off of Curious. And so we're especially in a rough spot right now because we don't even have a Spiral to bring out of the grave, and we're already looking for a Rescue. So we're just going to have to honestly rely on the mill here. Okay, and once we go ahead and go into our 3 darks and a Curious, Curious is going to send a card. And in this case, I feel like let's just go ahead and send a Rescue, and we're just gonna go ahead and see where it goes from here. Alright, so after that Rescue is sent, Curious is gonna mill another 3, and we end up milling another Rescue, Nessie, and Magician's Souls. So actually, this is kind of a situation where unless you're playing a Halqdon variant, you're probably going to hard brick, and the only thing you could end on at this point would probably be Appaloosa. But since we are playing the Halqdon variant, let's just go ahead and see how far we go here. You know, with any monster and a tuner, we can go in halq, which is not a bad thing. Alright, and having gone into halq, we're just going to search Jet Synchron here, because Jet Synchron probably has the greatest utility. Alright, and just like that, we're going to go ahead and go into Dawn. Alright, once Dawn hits the field, we're going to make 3 tokens as usual. Alright, and once the 3 tokens hit the field, let's just go ahead and see what we can end up doing. We can tribute out this and this to go into O-Lion. And with that, we can go into Boarload Savage quite easily. Okay, and once that's done, we're just going to go ahead and chain link 1 Boarload Savage Dragon, and we're going to chain link to our Mega Phantom Beast O-Lion. And once that's done, let's just go ahead and put that token on the field. And we do have a jet, so we can go into Herald of Arclight at least. We'll go ahead and put Curious here for 3 Boral counters. And in this case, let's have Jet send Super Agent. And by doing so, we can also special summon him on our opponent's turn because we have 2 rescues in the graveyard, or we can just do it on our turn if we draw into another Spiral. So in this case, let's just go ahead and end here. And just like that, we have something of a board. And we have 2 Called by the Grave, so let's just go ahead and set them. So there are times, yes, that you will brick, and this is kind of the best that you can do. If you were playing a list that did not have Dawn in it, you'd probably just go into Appaloosa and just try to find a way to get Super Agent on the field so you can hopefully have him get destroyed and have him just come back out later. Whatever the case, you know, there are situations where it's not going to be all sunshines and rainbows, and you're going to probably brick, and you have to just make the best of what you have. So hopefully this and the whole video has been educational for you. If you have any questions, by the way, feel free to drop a line, and I'm always available to answer. And if any of you need help as well, please let me know. That being said, thank you for watching this video, and I hope you guys have a great day.